All right. We will get this podcast started. Live stream podcast, whatever the hell you want to call this.
Fucking shit, bullshit, cockface, poopy, butthole, knuckle fuck.
You know, with cussing, you got to give it 30 seconds. The rumor has it. If you cuss in the first 30 seconds, that's when they shut down, not shut it down, but blackball it.
Oh, is that why we're fucked every time?
Because we always say, it always starts right away. After 30 seconds, well, if you get distant. But who cares? We don't care. Nobody's listening to us. What's up, Gonzo?
Hey, we're charting in Canada.
Not as of today, I don't believe.
Oh, did we drop?
We dropped in Canada.
Motherfuckers.
The Canucks did not like us for long periods of time.
We need to talk about gooses more.
All right.
Oh, fuck yeah. I should probably fucking do my due diligence here, huh?
And then we'll get this.
Now that we're finally started.
What is this, episode 189? We will get started with 189 here just momentarily. Jenny's here. What's up?
89 is 20 more than 69.
Yes. According to my fine math, my general math that I took.
Math. 2 plus 2 is 4 minus 1. That's 3. Quick maths.
I like Gregory. Hello, all. Hooray for crazy, insane Christians. Which is a topic, well, insane Christians and insane government people.
I was going to say, this one kind of goes both ways. This is one of those
Much
ones where
like
I don't
you,
agree
it goes
with.
both ways.
No. I gave up on that life. I found the Lord, and he doesn't approve.
All right. Start calling you David Koresh. Oh.
Was that Joe Rogan I heard come out of your phone?
That was that. Remember that one YouTube channel you showed me? Had like the CIA? It started showing up in my feed now, and it was the same CIA
Those
agent.
motherfuckers. It's
Always
fucking interesting, though, isn't it?
Always listening to me, yeah. Hey, Layla, what are you doing there, Chalupa? Oh. Yes, we will get started with the Waco Massacre here in just a moment. Since we are running late today, we had technical difficulties. We apologize greatly for my stupidity. I was so busy watching TV and trying to marathon The Boys Season 3. I forgot to put the batteries on the charger. So hopefully the batteries will last. If not, we'll do I got the other one, the second battery charged. So if I have to do a switch out, we'll do a switch out mid-show.
Can you do that?
Yeah.
Like without killing the stream?
Oh, you know, like
just kill the camera?
They'll kill the camera. The mics will still be hot, though.
Interesting.
So I can do it. I get my production assistant on it.
Chalupa Cabra?
Yeah, she ain't worth a shit either. All right. Yes, but Travis will be taking the reins on this one because I don't like crazy Christians.
And I do. If one of us had to be fucking, like, labeled as being religious, it would definitely be you.
Yeah, Gregory says season 3 of The Boys is awesome. Like I said, we talked about that on Wednesday. I saw season 1 when it was back when it first came out.
Yeah.
Didn't catch season 2. I caught that Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And finished up yesterday because I wanted to be refreshed. So I watched season 2 and season 3. It was a little, like I was telling you, it was a little political, but I don't know if it was. It almost came across satirical. What's going on in the world today, but then like with knowing Seth Rogen and his politics, probably not satirical. He's just being a douche, being a douchey Canadian, which he is.
Is this in poor taste? I'm putting this song Through the Fire and Flames on my Snapchat story.
I hope, Gary says, I hope you cover the resurrection challenge. Is that what that says?
Oh, yeah.
You know what? I don't know what. Travis, this is Travis's baby.
Yeah. Like, we've already established, just so everybody knows, this will be a 2-part episode.
This is probably going to be a 2-part episode.
It is more than twice the pages of a normal episode that I have.
This note-wise...
And I type single-spaced.
Well, you're just stupid. But this, note-wise, this is going along the line. It's about the same length as the West Memphis 3, and that was a 3-parter. So, but we're going to get done in definitely 2. So you're going to have to tune back in next Sunday for part 2. So look forward to that.
I mean, worst case scenario, we just have Dick to talk about on Wednesday. We do it Wednesday.
Well, that's what we talk about mainly on Wednesday anyways, Dick.
Balls.
And a little anus. That's what we do. So whenever you're done spamming and you're ready to get the ball rolling, we will play the intro and get this party started. And then I will do the opening comments and let Travis take the reins. And I'm going to sit here and flick my bean.
Bean.
I'm just going to sit here and look pretty on camera.
Pretty.
Camera. God, we are so mature. Gonzo, what's bullshit? Hard telling with you, actually.
Oh, you can go ahead.
I'm fine. I don't give a shit.
Oh, no, I'm good. I was just closing applications.
Okay.
Still one of my most fucking disliked thing about switching to iPhone. Why the fuck can't you just have a button where when you pull up your recently used apps, you can just close them all like on a Samsung or on a fucking Android? That is the number one thing I miss from having an Android.
Well, I don't know what to tell you about that.
Oh, it's a baby dolphin.
Oh, for the love of God.
How cute is that? Look at it. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty cute.
Adorable.
Oh my God, it's a baby dolphin.
Absolutely adorable. All right, you ready to get this party started? Let's play, play the intro, and then we will get this shit started.
Intro.
Now.
Shit.
Go. What is going on, you crazy son bitches? It is Phil and Travis here from Ghost in the Night. What the fuck are you doing now? That you can't hear it. No. Well, you can turn. You're up now. You already ruined the intro. Oh, for the love of God. I'm gonna have to redo the fucking intro again. No, I'm just my part of the intro. Jesus Christ, we are so fucking unprofessional.
Live streams before. This is what the people want to see.
Take 2 of my intro.
And plus, I rushed. Do you know how long it takes to fucking go to the living room to pause a TV in a 17-room Los Angeles Tudor mansion?
Yes.
I just sprinted.
Yes, I can tell. All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Ghost of the Night, a paranormal and true crime podcast. Tonight we are doing, or I should say Travis is doing, the Waco Massacre.
You're a massacre.
I'm masochistic. Keep it up, baby. Keep it up. No, but this is a fucked up story, no doubt.
Now I feel bad about leaving the chalupa here with you all week.
I know. This story, like I said, Travis is going to do this one. I have some very strong opinions about this story.
I think everybody does that knows anything about this.
Yes, but I take it, me being who I am, I take it a step fucking further.
That's weird.
Well,
I raised my chair up. It just looks fucking weird. I don't know. Now that I'm sitting this high, I don't know how the fuck I was that low all the time.
I know you were kind of low. I fell into it.
One of these days, I'm just going to sit on the floor where you can just see my head.
Yeah, but this story is just the amount of fuckery and stupidity on all fucking sides just pisses me the fuck off.
Yeah, well, and mind you, like I'm thinking about having you re-upload Ruby Ridge over the course of this week because they're directly connected.
Yes. I mean,
not like reasonings for what happened, but I mean, there's people from Ruby Ridge at Waco.
Right.
Well, and mind you, we're not even talking about, it's not even fucking Waco. This was 13 miles outside of Waco in Elk.
Right. Yes.
But you know why they like officially tagged it Waco, like being in Waco?
Why?
Because the tabloids one of the tabloids had already established a title for their their coverage of this. It was the Waco and Waco.
Oh, them fucking media people. They are
Yeah.
so clever.
That's why it stuck. That's why everybody knows it as Waco, because of that. Well, I guess Waco's probably the closest place that anybody fucking knows.
Right. But like I said, this is a sad story, and it also pisses me off. So, without further ado, go ahead, Travis, and start spitting some knowledge.
All right, we're gonna start this off with first off moving this just a little bit.
I can move completely off the table. I don't give a shit.
Oh yeah, it's wireless, isn't it? We should totally do that. That'd be a great idea.
Hold on, let me get rid of this.
We're getting used to. I have a new setup. I'm handling my episodes a little differently nowadays. There's a remote in case anybody wants to know about it. So we're gonna start off with David Koresh himself, the man himself. And we're gonna go into his life a little bit to try to paint a picture of what the fuck we're dealing with here. So David Koresh was born Vernon Wayne Howell on August 17th, 1959 in Houston, Texas, to his mother, Bonnie Sue Clark. Bonnie Sue Clark was a single mother, and she was only 14 when she birthed young Vernon Howell. And before he was born, his dad, Bobby Wayne Howell, had just completely abandoned Bonnie Sue and went off and RUNNOFT with another teenage girl. So he's making really good life choices out here, not creepy at all, and totally doesn't, this behavior doesn't mirror itself, this taste in women later on at all.
As the resident creepy old guy on the podcast, I understand what you're saying.
Butterfingers. So, by the time Vernon Howell, a.k.a. David Koresh, was born, his mom had begun living with a violent, raging alcoholic. And it wasn't even titled as a relationship, I guess. They were cohabitating. So basically it was a abusive relationship that one of them, I'm assuming the guy was like, that ain't my woman. That's just my hole.
My hole.
Bonnie Sue could really pick him.
Yes.
Yeah, so moving on. In 1963, Bonnie Sue ran off with her boyfriend and left 4-year-old Vernon in the care of his maternal grandmother, Earlene Clark.
I love Texas with all these names. First and foremost, how old was David Koresh's mother?
She was
13 when he had her.
She was 14 when he was born.
14. So if you're a 14-year-old mother and you name your son Vernon, nothing's good coming from that. You're either going to be a serial killer or a cult leader, whichever one.
I have fucking, my family in Texas. Well, I don't want to say their names. Well, my grandpa's dead, so, he was Merle.
The Smiths. Okay, go ahead. The Smiths from Texas related to you. Or are they named Smith?
No.
Fuck, okay.
No, I do have Smith in my family, but it's not in my bloodline.
But I'm just saying, if anybody...
Well, yeah, my grandpa was Merle. I have an uncle, Lester.
You got an uncle named Chester. Now we got something to talk about.
Lester, the molester, cock and stuff.
Cock and stuff. No, but any fucking 14-year-old in today's world, if they name their kid Vernon, it might be time for adoption. And, they might get Clintons. The female mother should get Clintons.
Oh, if I had a kid, if I adopted a kid and their name was Vernon, you're getting Ernested all the time. Know what I mean, Vern?
I'm just saying nothing good comes from a Vernon.
Clearly, we'll find that out. Stay tuned.
All right, continue.
Excuse me. Yes, so Earlene Clark, his maternal grandmother, started caring for young Vernon Howell at this point when his mom run off. So his mom returned when he was 7 after she had married a carpenter named Roy Halderman. Bonnie Sue and Roy had a son together who was born in 1966. Doesn't really add to the story, but why leave it out? So I'm just going to call him Vernon Howell up to this point.
Okay.
We'll change it eventually.
For the people listening, we're still David, for those of you familiar with the end of the story.
Well, because I have it here that in quotations, just to throw it in, David Koresh, Vernon Howell, wouldn't actually meet his biological father until he was 17 years old.
Lucky him.
Butterfingers. So he described his early childhood as being very lonely. And part of that was because he had poor grades, possibly caused by him having suffered from dyslexia. And he was actually put into special education classes and nicknamed Vernie by his peers and would be bullied for multiple years, from what I've researched, quite severely.
Well, with a name like Vernon, you're gonna get bullied.
Yeah.
Nobody's bullying a Rocky, but they're bullying a Vernon.
Oh, I don't like bullies.
Nobody's. People are gonna bully somebody. If you got a fucked up name, they're gonna bully you. Kids are mean.
Yeah, I guess. But to the point that he actually dropped out of Garland High School his junior year. He didn't even finish school. Which, I mean, not that uncommon back then, really. You know what I mean? A lot less people. I don't want to say a lot less people, but it was much less uncommon, or much more common, for people not to complete their education the further back you go in history.
That,
I mean, fuck, on the Wild West, everybody was in the same goddamn classroom.
that is true.
Like, you got 18-year-old kids that are struggling with, like, so the little A's got the tail? All right, Miss Lady Bitch.
Oh, fuck. Never mind.
I told that teacher lady I don't need no fancy book learning. Fuck you. And it's 2022. Nobody wears fucking capris, Marie. Capri Suns are delicious.
They are. They are very delicious.
You ever like empty a couple of them out?
Oh,
like into a cup?
I've shotgunned several.
No, you put them in a cup. Just have like a whole glass of Capri Sun.
No, I don't think I've ever done
that. It's the best.
Hmm.
Put some vodka in it.
Oh,
yeah, buddy.
Now you're speaking my language.
Yeah, now you're going back to the childhood years. Fruity drinks and alcohol. Fucking play some tummy sticks.
I don't know what you're talking about. My mother's on here.
Butterfingers. Does she know that? Is
she
the only person that understands that reference?
Probably I'll have to explain it to her, but once I explain it, it's probably not ringing a bell with her right now. But if she asks me and I tell her, she'll say, "Oh yeah, okay."
Oh, that did happen, didn't it?
Yeah.
So when he was 19, Vernon Howell had an illegal sexual relationship with a 15-year-old girl who became pregnant. He claimed to have become a born-again Christian in the Southern Baptist Church and would soon join his mother's denomination, the Seventh-day Adventist Church, which I have in quotations here, harkens back to, you remember we did the episode on Rocktario and the Anthill Kids. Rocktario grew up a Seventh-day Adventist.
Oh, yeah. Nothing good comes from those bitches.
They do flirt with the line of an extremist or radical religious group very often. And I mean, any group that, personal opinion, any group that, religion, cool, whatever, do what you do, that's fine. But any religious group under the Christian or Catholic, I guess Christian umbrella that still abides by any part of the Old Testament is a little fucking crazy. Anybody who abides by any part of the Old Testament is a little fucking crazy. Oh, your wife disobeyed you? Beat her to death. Here, have this slave. Let's just cut hands off left and right. 'Cause Jesus. There you go. I just saved everybody the time of reading the Old Testament.
I don't think Jesus I'm not a theologian, but I don't think Jesus does make an appearance to the New Testament.
Fucking slacker piece of shit.
No, because that's why I've always there's two different gods in the Bible. There's the Old Testament God, the New Testament God. And I say the New Testament, he chilled out, he became a father. He's not quite hail and brimstone as he is before.
He's like his bachelor pad in the Old Testament.
He was
gives no fucks.
Right. He's
just turned up,
turning people to salt and blood and shit all over the place.
Right.
Then he had a son, mellowed him out a little bit.
Yeah.
He's more peace, love, and hippie shit.
In the second one, see, it's funny. It's like a reverse growth pattern. He went from Republican to Democrat.
Oh yeah. See, it happened. He got a little bit older.
Yeah.
Right.
It was a vice versa, a switcheroo, if you will.
Right.
Okay.
Now we pissed off every religious person that ever will listen to this podcast.
I always do, apparently. Even though I say all the time, I'm never the person when a religious person wants to bring this shit up and talk to me about it. Even though I'm the sinner that doesn't believe in the Lord the way they do and shit. I'm never seem to be the one that gets mad. It's always them.
I don't know. I just work here.
And it always seems to be when I make a valid, I guess there's no real valid point, but when I make a point that is hard to rebut for them, that's when they start getting mad. The devil spews devil semen from your tongue in his words these days. Fuck you. Go back and give 10% of your goddamn income to your fucking lord, you fucking cuck.
Continue.
Okay. So while he was part of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, Koresh fell for the pastor's daughter. Now, he alleges that while he was praying for guidance, he opened his eyes and found the Bible open to Isaiah 34:16, which stated that, quote, none should want for her mate. I don't really know what the fuck to think of that. I don't think that really is.
Me again.
None shall want for her mate.
For her mate.
Yes.
Not his mate, her mate.
Yes. I guess to him meaning that she must have my penis.
I don't know. See, I'm not smart enough to read Shakespeare or the Bible, apparently.
I love Shakespeare. I mean, I haven't read it in years, but like when we started reading Shakespeare in high school, I really went down that rabbit hole. And I'm also weird. I really enjoy the Leonardo DiCaprio Romeo and Juliet. Like the fact that they verbatim did
the exact.
Yes.
Yeah, they didn't modernize.
And they did in the way they
modernized the cinematography, but the language.
And I really like how they did like that almost not dystopian, but like along the lines of almost a dystopian future kind of thing going on.
Yeah, kind of a.
I really enjoyed that. So anyway, sidebars, fuck. So he was convinced this was a sign from God. So he approached the pastor and told him that God wanted him to marry his daughter. The pastor continued to throw him out of the congregation, and after he continued to pursue his daughter, he threw him out of his house or the church, wherever the fuck they were. And after he continued to pursue his daughter, he was expelled from the congregation itself. So, good call, I guess.
Understandable.
Yeah. And then in 1981, he moved to Waco, Texas, and joined the Branch Davidians. This brings us to the Branch Davidians.
The Branch Davidians.
We are going to go into the history of the Branch Davidians as well, because as we talked about earlier, you, along with a lot of people, have been living under the impression that he started the Branch Davidians, and that is not true. So we're going to go into this.
I had no opinion because I did not know they were a thing before him.
Yes.
He just put them on the map. He's like the Sammy Hagar. Yes, Van Halen.
Yeah.
Was around before Sammy Hagar.
Yeah,
and some might argue was better. So maybe the Branch Davidians were probably better. Let's find out. And ruined the Branch Davidians.
So let's get into the Branch Davidians a little bit. So that starts with a Bulgarian immigrant and Seventh-day Adventist Sabbath school teacher from Southern California named Victor Hotef presented his views in a book called The Shepherd's Rod, the 144,000, A Call for Reformation.
That sounds like a porno I watched on Pornhub the other
day. Dude, it sounds like the title of the fucking book is a fucking book. Did you imagine getting text messages from that motherfucker? Jesus Christ. He would actually have to scroll. If you have to scroll for a text message, just call. Text message.
Yes, exactly. I hate that. And I hated like when I had
if it's like a group chat thing, yeah, I get that.
I hated an Android when somebody would send you, it'd break them up, and then
it'd be out of order.
Exactly. It's
yeah,
like deciphering Shakespeare.
Yeah,
or the Bible.
And you sound like a dyslexic fucking idiot trying to read it.
Because you'll read one and get pissed off.
So tomorrow we're gonna start doing the transfer over from the old TPS reports to the new TPS reports. And when you're done with the TPS report, bathroom doors will be locked from now on between the hours of 9 and 11. Thanks, Tim. Stop taking stinky shits.
Yes. Fuck Android.
So back to the story. These views were not popular with the advanced leadership, and they rejected Hotef's views as contrary to the church's basic teachings. And this is the Seventh Day, while he was under the guise of a Seventh-day Adventist congregation. So in 1934, Hotef began his headquarters in Waco, Texas, and his group became known as the Davidians. He later renamed the group the General Association of Davidian Seventh-day Adventists. Once again, this motherfucker needs to chill the fuck out and make shit fucking shorter.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
That is a mouthful. You can't put that on a business card.
Riley Reid couldn't fit all that in her mouth. So, little sidebar, Davidian signified the belief in the restoration of the Davidic kingdom of Israel.
Okay.
Yes. So when Hotep died in 1955, that was the year my dad was born, his wife Florence took over, believing herself to be a prophet. Now, Florence said that the apocalypse would occur in 1959, a date that cannot be found in her husband's original writing. And when none of these events occurred, a follower named Benjamin Roden formed another group, which he called the Branch Davidians, and succeeded in purchasing Mount Carmel from Florence in 1962.
Okay.
When Benjamin Roden died in 1978, he was succeeded by his wife, Lois Roden. Some members of the Branch Davidians were torn between Ben's wife, Lois, and his son, George. We'll talk about George as well. Now, move on to 1981, Vernon Howell arrived at Mount Carmel. He was well received by almost everybody at the Davidian commune at the time.
He was there kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Howell engaged in an affair with Lois Roden while he was in his late 20s and she was in her late 60s.
Not nice.
Yeah. He
I'm questioning his choices at this point.
Yeah, he actually voiced his desire to father a child with her who would be the chosen one.
Does he not know how menopause works?
Well, and the funny thing is there was a rumor that went around that he actually did impregnate Lois Roden. And he was, I don't know if I forget if it was an interview or something, but he was quoted as saying, like, something along the lines of, well, if I can get a 70-year-old woman pregnant, I really am a god.
I honestly can't disagree with that.
Well, because stuff like little shit like that off rip when he starts fucking with the Branch Davidians. We'll get into it more over the course of this series, but as much as we get fucked up on the government side throughout this story over this time,
right?
No part of me has ever felt sympathetic towards David Koresh's side either. He knew what he was doing with a lot of the shit that he pulled over the course of his life. He was a smooth talker, and I mean, you know, you give him a flowy haircut and fucking put him in a rock band, because that was one of his other gigs. He played guitar. He played a mean guitar.
I find that hard to believe.
That's what I hear. That's the word on the streets.
I need to hear proof.
That pizza looks really good.
What pizza?
The one on the TV.
Oh.
I just, you know me, I see food. I'm like, cheese and meat? Just like Dick. If there's meat and it's got cheese on it, I'm there.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Jesus Christ.
Gregory says old people need loving too.
I mean, that's not untrue.
Yes, I do. Because I'm old.
You geriatric fuck. You keep your liver spotted hands off my beautiful mother. So when Lois Roden died, George Roden, her son, took the role of prophet and leader of the sect, but there was a power struggle between Roden and Vernon Howell.
Now,
so
was he aware he was tapping his wife?
His mom.
Oh, wait, Roden's?
George Roden is Lois Roden and Benjamin Roden's son.
Oh, okay. Oh, my bad.
Yes.
So was he aware that Vernon / David?
I mean, from what I understand, it wasn't like a super secret thing.
That
people knew about it.
I might have a problem.
I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do.
I think George should have kicked his ass at that point.
Well, it's like, what do you get your 80-year-old grandmother for Christmas? Like when her husband's been dead for 10 years, Dick.
Ew. Okay, now you've lost me. Now I can't get that picture out of my head.
Moving on. So after George Roden actually chased Vernon Howell and his sect of followers off of they were pushed off of the Mount Carmel compound, if you will, commune. They moved on. They settled in Palestine, Texas, and Howe continued to try to take control over the Davidians as a whole. George Roden actually challenged Vernon Howe to raise the dead. Like, it was this is what they were talking about earlier. He challenged him into a competition of resurrection.
As in,
and
like,
whoever,
as like they both could do it?
Whoever could do it would be the leader. He was obviously the chosen one.
So they both were claiming they were God incarnate.
They were the chosen representative, chosen by God.
Saying they were Jesus?
I mean, David Koresh, minus the fact that he was Caucasian, kind of had a Jesus-esque thing going on.
For one, David Koresh could never say he was Jesus. I don't think Jesus would need glasses.
I don't know. I put out that.
I think Jesus would have 20/20.
I put out that Instagram post, and I was like, it was a picture of him, and it was like, if you can guess what our subject is, you can get a fake imaginary high five. And another show commented David Koresh. I was like, yes, we would also accept Vernon Howe or Def Leppard's IT guy.
Yes,
because that's what the fuck he looks like. He looks like he did dial-up internet for fucking D. Snyder and shit in the late 90s. Yes, I know D. Snyder was not in Left Leppard. That's what they should have called it. Like, why is it called that? Well, it would have been Def Leppard, but a Def Leppard wouldn't be able to say Def Leppard, so it was Left Leppard. Much, almost as rockin' as Helen Keller's band.
Oh, that is so fucking wrong. I can't get behind this. Continue with Vernon.
It'd be pretty easy to get behind that, really. She can't see or hear.
Vernon Howe.
How did that woman live for so long? Truly an inspirational story.
Who? I'm sorry.
Helen Keller. Really is an inspirational story.
She couldn't see and hear bullshit.
Yeah, that's fair.
She couldn't talk a lot of shit either.
What if she was like, what if she had like a 9 million IQ and you just never knew it? Like, everybody thought she was just like screaming, but in her language, it was like, she was like solving fucking mathematical problems.
She figured out the theory of everything way back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She wrote Darwin's book on evolution. Excuse me. So again, George Roden challenged Vernon Howe to raise the dead, and over the course of this challenge, George Roden exhumed the corpse of a Davidian who had been dead for 20 or more years. Yes. To demonstrate his spiritual supremacy, he was going to resurrect this person. So what does Vernon Howe do? After he resurrects this body, he exhumes this body that has been underground for over 20 years. What does this smart motherfucker do? This sly fox.
I don't know, but you're going to tell us.
He calls the cops on George Roden for desecration of a body.
Okay.
Yeah.
Smart motherfucker
right? So basically, he just sat there, and he was like, oh, a resurrection competition? That's fucking impossible. He goes, oh, you're going to dig up a dead body? All right, well, go ahead, man. You're doing a good job. A couple more feet, you probably got... Oh, that's the fucking casket. Scare! Man, look at that. A fucking skeleton with a little bit of skin left on it. That's crazy. I really can't wait to see if you... Yeah, this guy just dug up a fucking corpse. He just let this guy fucking... I hope he dug the corpse up, too. I hope he had to do all the work just to get the fucking cops called on him for it.
I'm just saying...
Well played.
Very well played. This motherfucker's playing 4D chess.
Oh, and that's what I'm saying. Over the course of this, like, that's literally what he does. He is... Like, David Koresh was not... He was not just this blind follower of religion. He was a fucking... He was not... He knew what the fuck he was doing when he did shit. There was no shame in this dude's game. He knew what was going on. Moving on to November 3rd, 1987, Vernon Howe and several of his followers raided Mount Carmel with 5 .223 rifles, 2 .22 caliber rifles, 2 12-gauge shotguns, and nearly 400 rounds of ammunition.
Motherfuckers came strapped.
Jump ahead about 4 minutes, a gunfight ensued between the groups until the sheriff put an end to it. Because they went looking for George Roden, I guess they found him like he was crouched behind a tree with a fucking Uzi, like ready to go, and they literally just start having a fucking gunfight in the middle of the fucking Texas plains.
Did he have an old thick tie around his head like Rambo style?
Dude, like literally, you're fucking getting into gunfights over control of a fucking religious group.
I would personally
see, and the crazy thing is that sounds fucking stupid, but realistically, that reads as far as religious shit goes.
Here's how I would have done this.
That's how religion works. It's like a pissed off Irish midget. It's like, oh yeah, I got followers. You don't have followers. You want to fight about it?
I would just personally. Here's how. No need for a gunfight. Fine, you have this lame ass shit. I'll go start my own.
That's what I'm saying.
It's much easier.
There's how many fucking subdivisions of Christianity?
A lot.
Yeah, you got the snake handling motherfuckers, you got the Baptists, you got the Presbyterians, you got the, I don't fucking know, the Holy Rollers. Have you ever seen that shit?
Isn't that a roller? What's that roller derby team?
No, have you ever heard of the Holy Roller Church?
No.
They like roll down the aisle for Jesus and shit. Like they just roll around. It's fucking weird. I got into a really deep hole of just watching YouTube videos of like extremist Christian
Please tell me there's somebody in the crowd going has this look.
Dude, my favorite is watching any church that speaks in tongues. They're just like, we will pray for this woman.
I'll be like, I raise my hand. I need a translator, please.
It is literally. It's like if a dog could talk and you just walked in through a room full of dogs and dropped hot sauce on all their tongues.
Somebody get me a fucking interpreter right now.
Yeah, like if Mr. Ed had a voice box. You are healed. It's like they sound like if Winston Churchill had a stroke or a fucking seizure.
All right.
So, excuse me. Sorry, I lost my place. We'll have to cut that out. I hate the ums. So, Vernon Howell and his followers were charged with attempted murder for the shootout, but 7 were acquitted, and Vernon Howell actually drew a hung jury. And after the acquittals, he invited the prosecutors to Mount Carmel for ice cream.
That's awful nice of him. Take him to Dairy
Queen. Dude,
he's
he's kind of a pompous fuck, for real. It shows multiple times over the course of this story. So, on top of that, George Roden was held on contempt of court charges for using foul language in court and threatening the court system with STDs if they ruled in Howell's favor.
I will give everybody in this place.
Oh, this guy was nuts. This guy was crazy, like legit crazy.
What year was this?
81.
So it was probably. Couldn't say. I don't. Was age? I'm sure age was around, but it wasn't quite the hysteria.
I don't know. You tell me. You were around.
Yeah, I was. I don't remember it till mid to late 80s, but I don't know.
But yeah, this motherfucker's just. I wish there was court cam at that time. I would love to see just some fucking dude in the middle of a courtroom like, well, I see what Mr. Howell's point is, and as the adjudicator of this here court in the 7th district of the great state of God-fearing Texas, past the fucking ammunition, fucking and then you just got this guy in the fucking whichever side, the right, left side, as the judge looks at it, he's just, that's fucking bullshit. If you don't stop agreeing with this hippie-looking fuck, I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna spray this whole goddamn room with syphilis and fucking gonorrhea. I swear to God. I know a dirty lot lizard bitch down on I-17. Her name's fucking Earlene, and she's I swear to God, I see her every weekend, and she's baking sourdough at all times, buddy. I will slather this place in fucking schmegma until everybody's crusty and itchy and it burns when you pee, you son of a bitch. Boom. Contempt of court. That'll do it.
I would think.
Yeah. So George Roden, again, was fucking nuts. And later on, in 1989, he actually killed a Davidian follower with an axe and was put in a mental hospital after he was found guilty, but he was also declared insane. So this guy was nuts anyway. He was nuts the whole fucking time. So that kind of, there's your brief overview of the Branch Davidian faith.
Right.
Now we're going to talk about the name change a little bit, because around this time, once he gained control of the Branch Davidians and Mount Carmel and everything, is when he decided to change his name.
Yeah, because is anybody really going to follow a Vernon?
Right. Burn. So from this point forward, you will only hear the name David Koresh. So David Koresh, formerly Vernon Howe, filed a petition in California State Superior Court in Pomona on May 15th, 1990, to legally change his name, quote, for publicity and business purposes to David Koresh. Now, Koresh is the biblical name of Cyrus the Great, a Persian king who is named a Messiah for freeing Jews during the Babylonian captivity.
I'll take your word for it.
Yes. David symbolized lineage directly to the biblical King David, from whom the Messiah would descend. That's where David Koresh comes from. And by taking the name David Koresh, he was, quote, professing himself to be the spiritual descendant of King David, a messianic figure carrying out a divinely commissioned errand.
Divinely commissioned errand.
Everybody in this story is fucking long-winded as shit. That's what we learned from that one. Fuck you, David Koresh. Probably a good thing.
I will voice my opinion about that maybe the second
in
episode.
Fucking 7 weeks when we finish this goddamn thing. So Koresh began preaching the 7 seals to his followers. Let's get into that. The 7 seals of God from the book of Revelations are the 7 symbolic seals that secure the book or scroll that John of Patmos saw in an apocalyptic vision. The opening of the seals of the document occurs in Revelations chapter 5 through 8 and marks the second coming of Christ and the beginning of the apocalypse or revelation. Upon the Lamb of God / Lion of Judah opening a seal on the cover of the book or scroll, a judgment is released or an apocalyptic event occurs. The opening of the first 4 seals releases the 4 horsemen, each with his own specific mission.
Arn Anderson.
Yeah. Dean Malenko.
Ric Flair. Ole Anderson.
Yeah.
And Tully Blanchard.
And what was the reimagining? It was Ric Flair, Dean Malenko, Chris Benoit, and who else? Who was the other one? Was it Rick?
Pillman? Wasn't Pillman?
Was it?
I think, yeah. Brian
Interesting.
Pillman. I think Brian Pillman.
That motherfucker did do.
Yeah.
Okay. Where was I? So the opening of the 5th seal releases the cries of martyrs for the, quote, word / wrath of God. The 6th seal prompts plagues, storms, and other cataclysmic events. The 7th seal cues 7 angelic trumpeters, who in turn cue the 7 bold judgments and more cataclysmic events. Please excuse me. My goddamn pages are sticking together. So that's the 7 seals. What?
Why are they sticking together, Travis?
Mostly cum.
Okay.
So moving on to the federal investigations. It bounces around. There's some dead time in here.
So are they investigating just because they're douchebags? Or they're...
Well, let's find out,
Phil.
Let's
find out.
Around 1992, most of the property owned by the Branch Davidians had been sold off, leaving just under 78 acres. In May of 1992, a postal worker reported that he thought he was delivering explosives to the gun and ammunition store, which was owned by the Branch Davidians. It's called, like, the mag bag. Pretty good, right?
No, that's a little lame. That's a little lame. I'm just going to be honest.
I mean, in 92, that's pretty good.
I guess.
Let's start a gun store. And you know what we're going to call it?
I'm afraid to fucking ask. Now, tread lightly. Don't want to get us canceled.
Well, I was thinking, this is your generation. Like, you remember Magnum P.I.?
Yeah.
Magnum Pew Pew.
Magnum Pew Pew.
Anyway, so yes, this postal worker reports his suspicion of delivering explosives to them.
That's what we ought to start a YouTube channel. Call it Magnum Pew Pew.
Just shoot stuff.
No, we'll get like the fake mustaches.
I'll draw one on.
And get a build a fake Lamborghini and sit in it and
just get a Lego
talk
Lamborghini and like
talk shit.
Do really bad transitions and like you can see just like the tips of our fingers like. Not a bad idea.
I'll let you be Magnum. I'll be TC.
I don't know. I never watched that shit. I'm pretty sure it was off the air when I was born.
It has to be rerun somewhere.
I mean, there are, but I don't give a fuck. Didn't they revamp that? They did.
Yeah, with a Latino guy as Magnum PI with no mustache. How? That's sacrilege. Blasphemy right there.
Magnum PIA.
And in the new one, what's her name? Who was the butler's name?
I don't fucking know. I just told you I didn't watch the shit.
Anyway, the butler who gave
Jeeves,
or the caretaker of the property in the new one is a hot girl instead of an old,
of course it is,
grumpy old man.
Remember Ask Jeeves, the search engine?
Vaguely.
Good times. Anyway, because of the incident at Ruby Ridge, which we've talked about in another episode, go back, check out our Ruby Ridge episode by all means. They are connected almost directly. Literally directly. There's people, like human beings involved in both that are in both stories.
And all we need to do now is hit the trifecta would do Oklahoma City bombing.
Yeah, or there's another one that I will touch on a little bit later.
Higgins is a girl in the new
Hello,
one.
Higgins. That's a terrible name for a woman. First name?
No, I think it's her last name.
Oh, I would hope. So again, because of the whole Ruby Ridge thing, where the federal government and its agencies made horrible decisions that ended in the death of Vicky Weaver unnecessarily, as we know from that episode, which, again, we talked about. We don't need to hash the whole thing up, but Ruby Ridge was a complete fucking shit show. It was a complete fuck off of government power and responsibility and law enforcement in general on multiple levels.
I agree.
And what? Go ahead.
So I was just saying I agree.
Oh, so that piled on with the you take that had just happened, and then the federal government knew about the Branch Davidians. Like I said, I even watched a little mini doc with one of the interpreters, hostage negotiators, and he even said like he knew who David Koresh was and who the Branch Davidians were already. He just didn't know a lot about them. They were on the radar, just not really to the point that they were worried about them.
Right. They were small time at this point.
So you put all this stuff together, and this possible report is now their opportunity for redemption for their gross mishandling of the situation in Ruby Ridge. Is an argument that a lot of people make, and I kind of fucking agree with.
Yeah, I can't argue that.
Right.
Argue against it, I should say.
Yeah, exactly. So ATF agents started surveillance on Mount Carmel from a property across the street. This one's kind of funny. They posed as ranchers in the show on Netflix. Apparently not true. They were under the guise of being college students that were in their 30s. They drove pretty nice cars, and they didn't even take the time to fake registration to any nearby school, which, sidebar, there was no fucking nearby schools.
Baylor's in Waco.
Yeah, but Waco's 13 miles away from Mount Carmel.
Well, it's 13. I mean, that's
College kids that are living in the same house, usually to save money, are not moving into a house 13 miles away from campus in the middle of the fucking Texas plains. It's a bad cover story. Top to bottom. T to B. So your mom retracted a message? No, she's out here cussing.
No, I don't know why she retracted it. The first name of the female Higgins on the new Magnum PI was Juliet.
Juliet Higgins?
Yes. I don't know why she took it down, or somebody took it down.
But yeah, it's just a bad cover story. I think we can all agree on that. No buenos. No bueno at all.
Well, I'm just saying, this just shows you don't have to be that intelligent to work for one of these alphabet agencies.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you're sending 30-year-olds to act like college kids driving black fucking SUVs probably, with government plates most likely, because they're that stupid.
Or fucking like a Corvette.
Yeah.
Stingray. So, Robert Rodriguez was an ATF agent and was part of this investigation, this sting operation, if you will. And he actually was sent undercover into the compound over the course of the investigation. Yes. Now, another agent named David Aguilera. I'm a genie in a bottle, baby.
Are there any... Does only Latinos work for the ATF?
Right? I mean, I guess if you're going from the standpoint of undercover work
In
Texas, I mean, that would be probably one of the better. Texas, Florida, and California would probably be your highest volume of needing field agents of a Hispanic descent. Not even just for undercover, just for language barriers.
You don't want an ATF agent in Texas named Bob Jones,
or fucking
with red hair and pasty white skin.
Abraham Malik. Just saying, and at this time in this area, probably wouldn't behoove them to have that person around all the time.
Yes.
So David Aguilera noticed a shipment of AR-15s and M16 magazines to the Davidians, and he said he had seen and heard of multiple occasions of people converting AR-15s to a fully automatic rifle pretty easily, which anybody who knows stuff knows, like, it's really not that hard.
It can be done.
Yes, you can get the parts for it illegally, or you can even modify, depending on the rifle, you can modify the existing parts and change that firing action. Don't do that. It's fucking illegal. And in my personal opinion, no normal fucking person needs a fully automatic goddamn weapon anyway.
I agree.
What the fuck does Joe Schmo need a gun that can shoot faster than he can pull the trigger?
Well, now we're going to get into the Second Amendment, which we don't need to get onto in this show.
Well, I just don't see the point of having fully automatic weaponry.
There are those people that believe you are allowed to have the exact same thing that the government has, because that's what the Second Amendment's about. Protecting against... It's not about hunting. It's not about any of that. It's against a tyrannical government. So
yeah, but we all know that's never going to happen.
What do you mean?
The government's never going to allow that. They're never going to allow anybody to be on a level playing field with them. It's just like, you can easily say that everybody thinks we have crazy technology. The government's technology is no less than 20 years ahead of us at all times. All the shit that we're getting now, the government, like, fucking George Bush Sr. probably had a fucking iPhone in, like, 88. Just walking around like, yeah, it's pretty cool, Martha. Let me take a picture of that dusty twat of yours. Looks like a old... remember those things, those pack cases that women used to have for their cigarettes in the 90s?
He makes a good... Greg makes... Technically, full automatics aren't illegal. You can still get them. You just can't afford them. They're not illegal.
And you have to have a certain level of license too, don't you?
I believe so.
Depending on the state.
Now, it is illegal to modify an existing gun.
Definitely don't modify. That's just stupid. To illegally modify your gun, you're a fucking idiot. You're just asking to get in a shitload of trouble. Right.
I mean, but that law, there is that, I forget the name of the law that was passed. It's stupid as fuck. But they,
The one that just passed recently?
No.
Oh.
The one that banned everything, like silent, and I hate the word silencers. Suppressors. There's no such thing as a silencer.
Right.
And it doesn't go boop, boop. It just muffles it a little bit. You can still fucking hear it, people. That is the movies.
Yeah. I mean, if you have the right one, like, it is drastically quieter,
but it's not
you can still definitely fucking hear it.
You're not gonna.
I'm not gonna shoot you with a suppressed gun, and somebody in the next room is not gonna fucking hear it.
The neighbor will still hear it.
Right. Unless maybe a 22 with a fucking suppressor that long on it.
But
that probably sounds like that fucking hawking a loogie.
That's how people say a silencer.
Yeah.
There's no such thing. It's called a suppressor,
I think that's mostly
which actually is safer. I personally believe it is smarter to have a suppressor for your ears.
yeah.
It's better for your health, but that's just me.
Well, I mean, there's also, I think it was fucking James Bond GoldenEye or 007 GoldenEye that fucked that whole thing up, because I do believe you could get a quote unquote silenced PP7 in that game. I'm pretty sure that's where everything came from. But then there's a golden gun in that game. You know, one shot, one kill.
I mean,
And if anybody was a nerd and played 007 GoldenEye a lot when they were on N64, you're an asshole if you fucking pick Oddjob, because he's short and you got to fucking adjust your aim to get him.
Wait.
Stupid.
All right, let's get off the Second Amendment. Let's continue with this shit.
Okay, so sidebars to this whole AR-15 swap M16 conversation. A farmer that neighbored Mount Carmel claimed to have heard fully automatic gunfire on the grounds of the compound. And this farmer had a military background.
Okay.
And he claimed that some of the gunfire he heard was from a 50 caliber machine gun. Now, if that's true, you got a problem.
50 cal, yeah.
Fully automatic guns, not necessary. Fun, I get it. Like, that's fine. If you want to have one or two, that's cool, whatever. It's your right. But nobody needs a fucking 50 cal machine gun.
I will not say that.
What?
Some of them bisons and shit, they're big.
A 50 cal machine gun?
Yes.
You don't need a machine gun to take down a fucking buffalo. And we're in Texas.
And
we're talking about like
grizzly
mule
bear?
deer and shit. We don't have grizzly bears in Texas.
But I'm just saying, you can't say it never is needed.
Okay, but that's also that's erroneous anyway, because a 50 cal machine gun is not easily transportable.
No.
You're not gonna be like, oh, I'm going hiking in bear country. I better take my 50 cal. I better take my Browning with me.
Wouldn't be a bad idea.
And plus, what are you gonna do? You're gonna roll around with it strapped up, ready to go?
It'd be like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
So unrealistic.
No, I mean, just continue. Let's get off this fucking shit. Continue.
Well, I'm just saying, like, a 50 cal machine gun, like, that's fucking overkill for almost anything. Literally overkill. Because that will fucking blow an elephant's asshole out. Because it's a machine gun. But anyway. Want and need, I'm not arguing want here. Like, we want a lot of things. I'm just saying, 50 caliber machine gun, unnecessary thing. Like, very rarely will you find yourself in a situation where you're like, see, this is why we bought the 50 caliber machine gun. This is why we spent $2,000 on that one ammo belt.
Continue with the story.
So after getting a signed witness statement from that farmer and interviews with related parties, Aguilera confirmed through orders that the Davidians had ordered upper receivers for both AR-15s and M16s, but not lower receivers because, as again, if you know guns, the lower receiver is technically the weapon, meaning that they aren't buying anything illegal, but we're supposedly modifying the rifles themselves after receiving those pieces. Which, again, not a good idea. It's not a good idea. Like, just don't. If you're going to do it, if you're going to have automatic weapons, buy them. Buy them legally. Then, you're still going to be that asshole at the shooting range that everybody's like, all right, we get it. That's the fucking third 50-round drum that you've gone through. It's really loud, and I can't take my ear protection off, or else I'll get yelled at because you're shooting nonstop. So just buy them legally. That's the suspicion. That's where all this shit starts off. Understandably so. You can't have a religious potentially religious extremist group running around converting fucking weapons into fully automatic weapons. That's not a good idea. You don't know where they're going. You don't know if they're keeping them. They could be selling them to whoever the fuck they want. They get in the wrong hands, everybody's fucked. So that's where the ATF starts getting a hard on for this situation, and I don't blame them on that one. So the Department of Human Services then sends a department worker named Joyce Sparks, that's a porn star name, who visited the compound on 2 different occasions. The second time she visited the compound, she was able to speak with David Koresh directly. And he admitted to her that, we got a handful of guns, loosely speaking, but he told her it wasn't like an alarming or dangerous, like militia level of gun ownership. So, Joyce Sparks, the porn star, asked David Koresh if she could tour the compound. And when she asked that, she was asked, and I guess the way the story goes, I'm assuming told, to wait a half hour before she was permitted to do so. Let's sidebar that for a second.
Okay.
What? Somebody from the government's coming to you asking you about guns and ask you if they can tour your facility, and instead of just saying no, you say, yeah, but give us 30 minutes. That's not suspicious at all. Like, oh, with no excuse, like, oh yeah, we got a clogged toilet, it stinks pretty bad in that hallway. Let us take care of it. Let's Febreze and put some Drano down there. No, just yeah, you can look around for guns. Just give us 30 minutes. Good call, man.
It's not the smartest way to handle this.
No, not at all. Like, just say no.
I mean,
that would have been a much, like, literally that would have been a better. I'd just say no and make up some shit.
Come back
about,
with a fucking warrant.
Yeah. So, yeah. Just have that excuse. Just be like, well, I mean, I don't have anything to hide, but you legally...
You need a warrant to come in here.
Exactly.
So go get one.
Instead of being like, yeah, just give us a minute. We gotta straighten up a little bit. We just finished brunch. There's mojito ingredients everywhere.
I gotta pick up my panties, so you just stay out here for half an hour.
Yeah, right? So she waited the 30 minutes. And after waiting the 30 minutes, Sparks noticed a buried bus behind a door. It said a trap door. I'm not really sure the legitimacy or the reasoning behind referring it to that.
A storm shelter type door or trap?
It was a bunker,
okay,
basically, an underground bunker that they had built themselves. So at the end of this bus bunker, there was a refrigerator. The refrigerator had bullet holes in it, and there were multiple firearms just on the floor in that area. Also, probably not the best look as far as... I don't want to say... Well, considering there's kids there, not a good look for safe gun ownership and handling. There was literally just guns on the floor. Like, no, this one's out. Mic drop. I'm out. Fuck this shit. I'm going to go get another one. David's got a really cool gun in his room next to his fucking slash replica Les Paul. So there was also alleged reports of Koresh having a 12-year-old child bride, which, as far as I could find, there's no verification of that particular inappropriate relationship. However, David Koresh did marry a 14-year-old girl at this compound. Break that down a little bit. At the time in the state of Texas, the legal age of consent for marriage was 14 years old. So technically and legally at that time, David Koresh was operating within Texas state law when he married that girl. There was also multiple women within that congregation who claimed to have had relationships with David Koresh, and a few said they had fathered children by him.
This is where we get into my issue with the story.
And it's a fucked up issue because he was legally within his rights to wed that 14-year-old girl.
I'm not saying I'm
not that it's I'm not cool with it. It's fucking gross, but
he wasn't technically breaking the law of Texas.
No,
I agree. I cannot argue that. But what I can argue is, Where in the fuck were the parents? And this is why I fucking hate.
Well, this was just
cults.
like this was just like every other cult. Like he was the fornicator.
Because here's my problem with fucking cults. If you are a member of a cult, you are the weakest minded motherfucker that's ever walked the planet. I don't give a fuck what anybody says.
Well, and we've had that conversation. Like I can sympathize with the whole cult membership thing to an extent. I'm sure there are those people that like they're just so fucking down and they find what they feel is salvation from their woes and their problems. I can get that. But at what point does it click in your brain that you're like, "Oh, so you helped me out of a tough spot, but now only you can fuck my wife?"
I've never dated
and daughter, I guess.
I've never dated a woman in my life that a dude
Just stop right there. Fact.
a dude came up and said, "I'm going to have sexual relationships with that woman." I was like, "You better be the fucking son of God, because you're about to get an ass whooping right fucking now." Even girls I dated and did not like, I'm still not letting that fucking shit happen. I don't give a rat's ass what you think you are. It ain't fucking happening. Now you want to throw in,
You never got Clintoned?
you want to go, you want to do what? You want to marry my 14-year-old daughter? Oh, you're getting fucked, all right. And it's going to be by me and my size 12 freaking foot.
It's
Because
gonna
I'm
be
like,
stinky.
I'm going to kick your teeth out through your mouth, not down your throat. Put my foot in your fucking ass, and it's coming out your fucking
He
mouth.
said, "I'm gonna shove my foot so far up your ass, the sweat on my knees gonna quench your thirst."
That might be. That's why I have. This story gets fucked up. That's why I have no sympathy for the Branch Davidians. I do not have any sympathy for these motherfuckers.
Yeah, I mean, cult leaders for the most part. I mean, there are cults where, even though it's like one of the most basest details of a cult, there are cults where there's not that type of shit going on.
Yeah,
but most cult leaders are just, I guess, cuckers. Right? Because a cuck, like the husband would be the cucky. Right.
But it's my same problem with religion. I'm sorry. I need to question shit. If you're gonna say a bunch of bullshit, you better back it up with some evidence.
Yeah.
And it's my right to call bullshit and say, I'm gonna need a little proof of that. I'm just not taking you at your word. Whether it be religion or fucking government or a president or a fucking congressman or a fucking reverend. I can see bullshit. I can
realistically, in my personal opinion, from what I've seen, religion is the only fucking conglomerate and company that is better at the execution of the business of fear and control than government. Because there's a separation of church and state, but they sure as fuck make you put your hand on the Bible in court.
I mean, that's a whole nother fucking, just like the...
Well, because the fingers are in both pies. Well, they finger each other's pies.
Well, let's be honest. If even an atheist today, even you live your life according to religious teachings. Even you today. You do. Today's society is based off religion.
Well, because they cheated, too.
Well, no, just because that's just the way a common society is, thou shalt not kill kind of shit, all the rules, how you're supposed to behave with people, respect your elders kind of shit. That is all from religious teachings of the past, the ancient past, all throughout. So even an atheist still lives their life they are how they were brought up. They were brought up with a religious type thinking. Just because you don't believe, an atheist doesn't believe in a God, doesn't mean you don't act like that, like a religious person. You just don't believe that belief. But how you live your life is based on religious teaching.
That's why they're so good at it, because that's now, that way of thinking isn't religious. That's civilized,
right? But that is based,
and we live in this civilized world. You know what I mean?
But it's based off a religious type.
That's why religion is so powerful.
Right?
Like, they literally form economies, if you will, in masses and lifestyles on their own. That's why the shit's so dangerous. That's why, which is exactly why they fucking put an end to the cults so fast.
Right.
Because the cults are going to be the ones that are going to be like, I have your God backing me, but I'm going to buck your system. That's not good. They don't like that shit. They're not going to allow that shit.
Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those things. It's like we've said before. Yes, it's all modern society is based off religious, but it's also, like we've said, like the Jim Jeffries joke. I don't need a 20,000 page book to tell me not to be a cunt.
Yes. Four words. The whole Bible, four words. Don't be a cunt.
Yes. So
yeah. So let's start ramping up here. Kinda. Now, I'll say again, with the assistance of this affidavit that he filed, David Aguilera, he brought forth the idea that the Branch Davidians had officially violated federal law. So,
which is a good odds are, from if everything that is correct, we are not.
100%.
Yes, that's not a far reach.
100%. Yeah. So at this point, the ATF was able to acquire search and arrest warrants.
Oh fuck! We're
dropping.
You're dropping frames.
God damn it!
It just started too.
I wonder why.
I don't know.
Fuck.
Oh well, just continue.
We will continue after these short messages from our sponsors.
We're back.
That we don't have.
We're back.
So
go ahead.
At this point, with all this going on, as you said, if this is all true, they've officially violated federal laws. The ATF was able to acquire search and arrest warrants for David Koresh and specific followers on weapons charges, citing the many firearms that they had accumulated. So the warrant required a search, quote, on or before February 28th, 1993, between 6 a.m. and 10 p.m.
That's a pretty big fucking window.
Right. There was a claim.
Were they fucking fixing the cable? Jesus Christ. Yeah.
We'll be there between Tuesday and September.
Yes.
So there was a claim made by the ATF that Koresh may have been running a meth lab. And they also used this allegation so they could get military assets under the war on drugs, which we all know was at its peak in the early 90s. Now, side note to that, the ATF's investigation focused on firearms violations, not on illegal drugs, but they requested assistance from the DEA and the DOD, quote, citing a drug connection based on, one, a recent delivery to the compound of chemicals, instruments, and glassware. 2, a written testimony from a former compound resident alleging Howell, quote, on this, Howell had told him that drug trafficking was a desirable way to raise money. He's not wrong. That's not right, but he's not wrong.
Right.
3, several current residents who, quote, had prior drug involvement. Good luck finding any fucking group of people that there's not one or two. Dick. 4, 2 former residents who were incarcerated for drug trafficking crimes. And 5, National Guard overflights, thermal images showing a hot spot inside the compound, possibly indicating a methamphetamine laboratory. Now, the major sidebar to this is George Roden did, in fact, have a meth lab at Mount Carmel. But when Koresh took over, he called, like when he took possession of Mount Carmel, he found this shit that George Roden had because he was running an active methamphetamines lab. He called the sheriff about the meth lab that George Roden had on the property, and the police came and they legally removed and evidence, filed everything into evidence. Like he legally disposed of this meth lab that was on the property when he moved on to the property and took control of it. So he did one thing right so far, 100%. That's how you handle finding a meth lab on the property that you run a cult off of. Or I'm sorry, and a extremist religious group. So the original request for assistance was initially approved, but the commander of the Special Forces Detachment questioned the request, and the ATF obtained only a training site at Fort Hood, Texas, from February 25th to February 27th with safety inspections for the training lanes, and was given only medical and communications training and equipment. Are you having issues?
I'm just looking to check the.
You're being a nerd?
See where we're dropping frames at. So,
Gotcha.
yes, we know for some reason we're dropping frames, so people watching live, we apologize. Our connection looks good right now, but...
You'll just have to listen later on your favorite podcast app.
Yes.
Because the audio recording will still be perfect.
Yes, because we do backups here. We plan for this.
So again, they initially got approved, but they didn't end up automatically getting the military backing that they wanted. So because of this, the ATF raid was planned for Monday, March 1st, 1993, which was outside of the original blah, 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 but everything went to shit for them. And it was given the code name Showtime.
Operation Showtime.
I wonder if it had anything to do with the guy playing at a band.
Wasn't Showtime in 93? Well, it was Showgirls. The chick from Saved by the Bell. Was that about 93?
Wasn't Demi Moore in Showgirls too?
No, that was...
what was the stripper movie that
Demi Moore did
in?
with Burt Reynolds? What was the name of that? I don't know. I'll look that up. I'll look it up while you are.
So Operation Showtime was planned for Monday, March 1st, 1993, but it was moved up a day to February 28th due to the Waco Tribune Herald's, quote, the Sinful Messiah series of articles, which the ATF did attempt to prevent from being published entirely. But they couldn't find a reason to silence the media on this one, so they just kind of fucked the pooch, so they moved it up before they could release that series, or the first part of that series. So this brings us to the morning of Sunday, February 28th, 1993, when the ATF attempted to execute their search warrant. The ATF's plan depended on reaching the compound without the Branch Davidians being armed and prepared, but the ATF commander ordered to proceed with the warrant despite having known ahead of time that the Branch Davidians knew a raid was coming.
Striptease was the name of the
Striptease, got it.
Demi Moore stripper movie.
Even though this isn't standard procedure, ATF agents had their blood type written on their arms or their neck after leaving the staging area before the raid, and this was recommended by the military to facilitate speedy blood transfusions in case of an injury.
Smart thinking, kids.
True, but it seems a little weird, right? Like, that's not normal operandi for this particular type of service. So the ATF had no chance for an element of surprise because KWTX TV reporter who had been tipped off about the raid asked for directions from a mail carrier who was coincidentally David Koresh's brother-in-law.
What's the odds and bad luck of that?
I mean, you're in the bumfuck middle of nowhere. Like, it's probably pretty high.
In Texas, they're all related anyway.
I was going to say, they got in that area, I mean, that's any state. You get far enough away from any city in any state, and it gets a little backwoods.
Well, and in their defense, this is pre-GPS.
Your fucking gene pool's about as shallow as a puddle.
And, this is pre-GPS. You actually had to read a fucking map.
Yeah.
For you millennials, that's called...
I know how to read a map.
Well, God love you.
Thank you.
Especially Gen Z. They couldn't tell you.
Oh, my God. They probably couldn't even unfold one.
Or
That's the hardest part about using a map, for real, is trying to fold the goddamn thing back up.
The best maps in the world, ever...
The giant fucking books
were actually the ones in the back of phone books.
Oh, I never used one of those.
Yeah, those are
had the road
most
maps.
accurate ones in the world. I used to use those when I was I used to be a delivery driver back in my younger days before I was married.
See, that was the problem. That's why the Butterfinger runs took so long. He wasn't using the he was using the phone book. He was using the gas station road maps that you got for 99 cents.
Yeah, which aren't worth the fuck.
Piece of shit. So after he was informed of the raid, David Koresh told undercover ATF agent Robert Rodriguez that they knew the raid was coming. Like, he told Robert Rodriguez, like, don't do this. Like, tell him to stand down. Don't do this. This is unnecessary. So let's get into that aspect of it a little bit more. Robert Rodriguez had already infiltrated the Branch Davidian and was shocked to, like, he knew his cover was blown. David Koresh told me, he's like, I know who you are, and I know why you're here. You imagine the look on that fucking dude's face, an undercover federal agent, and having the guy that is your target go, so what's your badge number, fucking pig?
Well, honestly, this is a little different than being, found out if you're, if you infiltrated the Hells Angels or the Mongrels or a drug cartel.
Yeah.
A little different.
But, I mean,
I think that
even if he couldn't corroborate it, just having the thought of what might be going on here in the back of your mind, it's still got to be fucking. I mean, I feel like if your cover gets blown in an undercover operation, no matter what it is, it's gonna be fucking scary. Because you're clearly there for a reason.
These aren't the most violent. Just because there's weapons involved and they might be modifying and selling weapons, they're not that violent. I wouldn't think of them as violent as, say, a drug cartel or a mob.
Yeah.
The mob, I mean.
True.
I think the chances of you getting it out...
But dangerous. I would say potentially equally as dangerous. Because you're dealing with a Seventh-day Adventist subsect, basically. So they have apocalyptic thoughts. So when you throw in all of this type of shit, it's going to further inflate their idea of this is why we're here. This is our sole meaning for life, is to be part of this apocalyptic thing. And it's just going to drive them further into their belief system.
Here's my thought.
And if they have the guns to back that up, then fuck all.
I do not fear any man that fucks or marries a 14-year-old. I do not fear you. I do not fear any man that lets an old man fuck or marry his 14-year-old. You are all a bunch of pussies.
With automatic guns.
I don't give a fuck. Don't care. You're still a pussy.
Yeah, but when you're one guy that's supposed to they're not supposed to know who you are in the middle of their compound, I would be worried.
I will be John J. Rambo and just go through that fucking place.
John J. Jingleheimer Schmidt.
His name was my name too.
Whenever we go out,
the people always shout,
"My name is John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt." Da, 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 da.
Oh, we're dropping frames again. Great.
Ah, fuck it. Who cares? Just listen later on Spotify or
Apple
Stitcher,
Podcast, Google Podcast,
no.
iHeartRadio.
Yeah. Anywho's it. So Robert Rodriguez made an excuse that he needed to leave the compound, and he was later asked what the Branch Davidians were doing when he left the compound, and he said they were praying.
Fair enough.
And I mean, that's a guy that was in the compound. Granted, you can't see everybody. I seriously doubt he took a fucking head count and was like, they're all accounted for.
Because how many people have you said that? How many actual people were in that compound?
I would have to do the math on how many people were in the compound total.
It was over 100.
At the beginning of this whole thing.
It was over 100.
There was a lot.
Yeah, because
like I said, I'd have to do the math of like how many died, how many left before, how many left during all of this shit. Like I never saw a number exactly. So some of these Branch Davidians who survived the siege that we will end up talking about said that Koresh ordered certain male followers to start arming up and taking up defensive positions, while the women and children were told to take cover in their rooms. Koresh told them that he would speak to the agents, and what happened next would depend on the agents' intentions. So he's not... Even if we take away and say that it's hearsay, if you will, the whole taking up defensive positions, even if that's not true, him saying that, you're automatically off to a bad start.
You're forward. Not to justify what comes later by the government.
Yeah.
Not to justify them either. But I would understand by hearing that you're assuming they are taking defensive positions and preparing for a fight.
Whoa, what?
If he said that if David Koresh told his people
that it depends on the agent's intentions.
Well, to take defensive positions.
Well, that was said later by Branch Davidians that were there.
Oh, okay. So
that wasn't said to like Robert Rodriguez or anything like that.
But
from my research, that tidbit of information had never fully made its way back, in direct mouth or word, person to person, directly to the ATF.
But let's be honest: if you are a government agency trained,
you have to go into it assuming something.
You have to assume they are preparing. The warrants were for guns,
or you have to at least assume that they have the ability to clap back, if you will.
Right, and
even if they're not preparing for it, you have to think those guns are in there. There are X amount of people. There is potentially a gun for every set of hands that can use one.
The government just couldn't think, oh, they're this and they're weaving baskets.
Yeah, I don't fault the government for being prepared for the worst case scenario.
And hoping for the best. Well, I'm not even sure they were hoping for the best.
Yeah,
but
and plus it's the ATF. Like the ATF, this is what the ATF does. Like, I've listened to that interview by a former ATF agent. Apparently, those are the motherfuckers. They're the Wild West. Like, go out, do some crazy, cool, like shit you see on TV agency.
Yeah, I've never really understood the ATF.
They're the ones that do all the crazy, like, undercover work and shit like that. Well, I mean, the CIA and shit does too, but like all the shit with like biker gangs and stuff like that, a lot of the times is the ATF.
Well, because most times there's firearms involved.
Yeah.
The thing I don't understand about the ATF, if for those of you who don't know, the ATF stands for alcohol, tobacco, and firearms.
Mm-hmm.
And
how do all of those fucking fit together?
We also have the DEA, Drug Enforcement Agency. Now, can't we take alcohol and tobacco and put them under the jurisdiction of the DEA and let just the ATF?
Yeah, but alcohol and tobacco is legal to purchase if you are of the right age.
Right, and some drugs are.
And so are firearms. That's the only correlation I can find.
But I think that the ATF, in my personal opinion, I'm not knocking the ATF. I think that's a little bit too broad of a scope of stuff to cover.
I mean, stuff that can be dangerous but can be legally purchased.
I understand.
You know what I mean? Like that. I guess that's the only rationale I can put. Fucking.
I just think it's a little stupid. Alcohol, tobacco, and let's throw in
guns.
Throw in guns too. Which one of these does not fit?
Yeah, I mean that's the only variation there really is between the two, is illicit and non-illicit.
And who does now in today's society? Who does the background check?
What do you mean?
If you to buy a gun, you have to buy it or have a background check.
Yeah.
You know who does the background check, right?
I couldn't tell you.
The FBI.
Well, that makes sense.
So why can't guns go under the FBI? Put guns under the FBI.
The FBI's already got a bunch of dumb shit that we will never know about that they're doing.
Guns under the FBI. Put alcohol and tobacco under the DEA. We can save money. Balancing the budget here.
If you think about it, though, the FBI part makes sense because it is the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Like that is their whole job is to go.
Something smells fishy here. I'm investigating.
7. That's the FBI's job.
Right. I'm just trying to cut some of the government fat.
You're still going to spend the same amount of money. They're just going to fucking allocate it to a different location.
Or give me a job, one of the two. I don't give a fuck.
Oh, dude, I'd totally do it.
Well,
I'd work for the government. Fuck it. Everybody's like,
I wouldn't.
Everybody be like, but Travis, you don't trust the government. Can't beat them, join them. And we ain't beating them. I'm sorry, people. We ain't beating the government. Not going to allow it. Like, yeah, but we got more guns than them per capita. Yeah. Yeah, well, you know what, Jethro? You know what you don't have? Fucking tanks and fucking fighter jets.
Well, here's the thing. We can go off on this. Here's that people say that argument right there, but you also have to remember that somebody has to fly those fighter jets, and somebody has to drive those tanks.
Mm-hmm.
For one, they're not going to drop bombs. They would never.
They'd have to get really gnarly.
They would never do it. The PR nightmare that would.
Oh, I think they would.
No, they would.
I could definitely see them. I could definitely see if shit really hit the fan and it was like a civil thing within our borders. I could definitely see them. I wouldn't see them bombing major cities, but I could definitely see them like carpet bombing less populated areas just as a fear tactic.
I don't think no political leader would do that now. I don't. And,
well, hopefully, the big thing with this whole thing is hopefully, I just hope, at least within my lifetime, I don't have to fucking see it get that bad.
And if I'm not mistaken, I might be wrong, the actual Army, Air Force, or the Army, Marines, and Navy can't operate outside of a military base on U.S. soil.
Unless they're deployed to do so.
Unless the martial law has to be in...
Well, yeah, because that's why they have, the reserves.
That's why they have the National Guard.
Yeah.
National Guard. Now...
Well, and they also pull reserves for that, too,
right.
I believe.
Now...
They have to be allocated by the president. Or,
Here's where I think that gets iffy. Like you said, fighter jets and tanks and all the shit, somebody still has to drive those. An American citizen has to drive that tank into downtown Baton Rouge. You know.
Well, I mean, let's be realistic. I think we both know if it came to that, I think we both know what would really happen at that point. It would no longer be a domestic thing. At that point, they'd be like, well, we made friends with Russia. Or insert country.
You mean
if the government wanted to lay waste to the freedom of Americans, they're just going to they're going to war dog it out to somebody else.
No.
And they're going to be like, yep, come on in, guys.
Here's what I think would actually happen. If there was some kind of and I'm not promoting this. I hope this never happens. Some kind of uprising in the United States where the people were rising up against the government, which is a bad plan.
It's just no matter what side you're on, it doesn't end well.
What will probably happen, the other countries aren't going to side with the government. They're the same way the French. Who did the French support in the American Revolution? The colonists.
Yeah, the French are pussies.
But I think other countries
bailed them out in WW2.
If our enemies of us, our enemies would actually support they would lend aid to the uprising.
But that's my thought process is if it gets to that point, you know how I think about government and shit like that around the world. If it comes to that point, that would be the point where they're gonna drop the dog and pony show as far as the one world government thing. Because I don't think you're fully in agreement with me, but there's no part of me that doesn't believe that there is a one world government
already
plan.
Oh, there's already.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. I think that if it comes down to if one of the superpowers has a battle within its own borders, I think that's the point in time where they're going to be like, well, check this shit out, and fucking Vladimir Putin's going to just shotgun a beer with the president at the time, and they're going to be like, oh, you're fucked now, bud. And then everybody's going to be like, oh my God. And then next thing you know, they're going to be like, oh yeah, West Coast, China's already on their way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just think it'd be hard to get the military to turn on the people.
I agree.
And
that's why I'd say,
some will follow orders.
Oh yeah.
That's why it would be a very bad fucking day.
Yeah.
But let's be honest. Our enemies here in the United States, or our foreign enemies, what's going on in the world in the United States today has been planned. Mm-hmm. There's a reason why we are at each other's throat.
That's what I'm saying. And when it comes down to this, when it comes down to this, I would assume in my head the way I see things happening and the way I think things are going to work. And we've had this conversation. I'm not floating my boat here. I am unfortunately correct on a lot of things when it comes to quote unquote conspiracies and theories and shit. I've been right on stuff that I wish I was not. But in my mind, every country with a stable flow of monetary assets and a military is going to just kind of go high fives all around. Who are we going to fuck up? Everybody just send them there. Keep just enough of your people to control shit here while it goes down there, because once it goes down, if America went into a civil war, if you will, shit's gonna pop off around the world potentially. Because if we're doing it, a lot of other countries are gonna be like, oh fuck, it's happening, and then you're gonna have mayhem everywhere potentially. But that's when everybody that's worth a fuck is part of the new world order, if you will, already. And you combine all of the worth a fuck countries, they're just gonna fucking plow their way through everybody if they want to, as a combined force.
Okay, Gregory makes a good point. Russia versus Afghanistan. Russia loses and had to pull out. Could never taking over, and that whenever Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
Who won Vietnam?
America.
No, we didn't.
I know.
We could have won it, but we didn't.
It was a draw.
We could have won it, but we didn't. But who were we fighting?
Locals.
Right. We were fighting peasants and farmers.
Mm-hmm.
We had all the fucking fancy toys. They didn't.
Yeah.
They basically won the war.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, they did have help from the communists, which supplied them a little bit. So, that's...
Well, if we
David versus Goliath. You could even look at Afghanistan today. Yes, we whooped some ass for 20 years. We didn't win that fucking war. We pulled out like a 16-year-old boy on prom night.
In that...
Quick
very
messy.
That is... that could arguably be considered a war. That was a planned engagement.
That was an occupation, is what it was.
But
to
further things that
right.
we still shan't talk about in the fucking government and on TV.
But
well, if you want to break it down realistically, how this is going to go down is it's all personal opinion. No matter what, no matter who backs who does this, who goes and fucks off, who goes turncoat, this shit all goes down. We know what's probably going to happen is a little thing called nuclear winter. Because as soon as shit hits the fan in America, to that extent, there's going to be a ripple effect. It would be the same way in any other superpower. You know what I mean? Like, there's going to be uprising because people are going to see it's happening here, so follow the leader, and also eyes are looking over here, so I might be able to get away with more. And then as soon as shit really goes off, then everybody's going to start arguing about it. And this is barring the one world government idea. As soon as one of those, a nuke leaves the ground somewhere, we know what's happening. All those doomsday devices are going off, and like us alone, America alone can literally just level this whole planet. That's what's going to happen. That's going to be the end of man. No, it's going to be nukes.
I do not think nukes will never be fired. I seriously doubt it.
Honestly, the way everything's going,
assured destruction is a thing.
Honestly, but the way things are going, probably it'd be better. The planet would be better off if we did it.
The planet doesn't give a fuck.
That's what I'm saying. The planet, Earth is just sitting there like, just set them all off. Just take all of yourselves out. Let me fucking start with mitochondrial DNA again, and we'll try this again for the 1,000th time.
But people talk about civil war here in the United States here, which Listen, civil war's not happening here. It's already happening. It's not a hot war. We already have a civil war in this country right now.
Yeah.
It's not being fired with bullets,
and
that probably won't happen.
And just like the last one, this one's on purpose.
And that's
the fucking problem. Nobody sees the fact that the powers that be push for this shit.
Have you seen that KGB agent that we captured and interviewed and stuff?
Which one?
This was their plan, to infiltrate the communists, the Russians, the Soviet Union. Their goal, and they were infiltrating our colleges, fucking with our kids, changing the way they're thinking to make them more like socialist. The problem is, it worked.
Yeah,
it worked. This was their plan. The only problem was the Russians or the Soviet Union didn't last long enough to reap the benefits of the reward of what their hard work. Because it's happening. It's happening now.
Yeah, and they have divided. Now the big problem is like that shit worked, and now our government is just feeding off of it to drive more fear tactics and drive a bigger fucking wedge in between two populations of its own fucking people.
Because somehow this country here, we've lost the ability, or a lot of people. I don't even say a majority, but we've lost the ability to agree to disagree.
Yeah, which is the fucking basis of natural human interaction.
Right. Just like this, I don't agree with you when it comes to guns. What you've said on this podcast, I don't agree with what you said. But are we fucking fist fighting over it? No, it's not. I don't agree. You have the right to your opinion.
Yeah.
I think there's a
and I'm
different way to think.
I'm also very within my gray area way of thinking on most stuff. I am very gray area on top of being gray area.
Right.
Because like I said, I think that fully automatic weapons 99% of the time within the normal population are unnecessary and you don't need them. Do I give a fuck if you have one? No, I don't. It's not my fucking life. It's your world, pumpkin. I'm just fucking living in it. I don't give a fuck. Do I find them to be unnecessary? Are they unnecessary? For 99.9% of a human being's life, yeah, you're never going to need that. But if you want one and you got the money for it and you legally can own one, fucking go for it. Mount the shit on top of your Jeep. I don't give a flying fuck.
It's not about necessity. And most people,
it's about desire. I mean, which is also, let's be real, that's also part of the problem with especially this country.
Well, here's this one:
is desire and ability to get those desires, which is good to an extent. But when those desires are being pushed so hard by the powers that be that it causes civil unrest and a divide, that's where the problem comes in. Because this black and white thinking has been so fucking shoved down our throat that so many people, even the fucking people on the left that are supposed to be all conservative and love, you're equally as bad. You're black and white. You just are, you are the white to the Republican black or vice versa. It's the same fucking thing. You're being just as big of a unreasonable douche as the other side. You just have a fucking different opinion that you think has to be fucking right because we got to be right. We can't meet in the middle.
No,
God forbid. Even though as little kids we learn, we share. I'll break my Twix in half. Or Butterfinger. I'll break my Butterfinger in half and share it with little Philly boy because everybody's fucking equal, and if you want what I have, that's okay. We can come to a compromise on that. No, the fuck we can't.
You're either with me or you're against me.
Yes, that's fucking bullshit. That's going to be the downfall of this country.
But all good things were meant to go away.
Yeah, all of it. Like even if the government is behind all this shit, it's all part of the. It's all going to fall into being part of the plan that is not even a plan. It's all going to lead to. Eventually, we're all going to be fucking dead anyway, and the planet's going to go, let's try dinosaurs again.
All civilizations and all power, all empires implode eventually.
Yeah. Because nothing is forever.
Because we are tribal people, but we're not meant to be this big.
Yeah.
We're not meant to be this big.
Oh yeah, everybody wants to talk about like, oh, we're gonna end up overpopulating the planet. We already have.
See, I don't know.
Like maybe not in a literal sense, but from the way that everybody acts and behaves now, we are overpopulated.
I mean, as from the overpopulation thing is about fucking the environment and carbon.
Mm-hmm.
There's not too many people on the planet.
Not physically,
not
but
physically. Exactly.
You throw in like social standards and opinions. Yeah, we're way overpopulated.
But if everybody could actually listen to somebody's opinion and not argue about it,
right?
Just because somebody doesn't share your opinion doesn't mean it has to break out into a fist fight.
Right.
I can sit down and drink a beer with you, even if I don't fucking like you.
We disagree on a lot of shit.
You and I disagree on a lot of shit.
And we have a perfectly harmonious... We live together.
Right.
We have a perfectly harmonious relationship.
In a completely heterosexual way.
Sometimes.
Maybe.
But no, and we have a completely harmonious relationship.
But is it...
You and I don't... up to this point, you and I have never gotten into an argument.
No.
We have disagreements often.
We don't even have that bad a disagreement.
No, not at all. But like, and
we
that's
have difference
fine.
of opinion.
Yes,
but
difference of like my favorite color is blue. My favorite color is green. Get the fucking guns, Shirlene.
Right. Fuck
that's
you.
That's literally how this shit has become.
Right. But because we're so fucking tribal, people just need to fucking relax. And not everybody thinks the same way.
Like, I've referenced it on this show about the argument I got with a older generation gentleman because of my opinions on Donald Trump, which I've always been very open about, and I'll still be open about it. I'm not going to say that he was an awful president.
No.
I just think he was a fucking dick. And it's funny because the people who are hardcore Trump supporters at first wanted to argue with me when I said anything. But like through the course of his presidency, they'd be like, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. I'd be like, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying he's a fucking asshole. He's a prick.
Here's my thing on Trump.
And those voters, those guys that are like hardcore Trumpies would be like, oh, yeah, he's definitely an asshole after he took office and everything.
Oh, he was an asshole before.
Oh, so once no, they would say it then. So now you got what you wanted. So now it's okay to voice these difference of opinions, and then find out that it's a shared opinion.
I do blame Trump for one thing. Trump
having bad hair.
Trump fucked us. It wasn't even Trump that fucked us. It was the complete mental breakdown by half this country when he got elected.
Yeah. Like the world's going to end.
Right.
Let's all run to Canada.
Now, was Trump a great president? He was all right. He's like most presidents.
How many great presidents has there been?
Policy-wise. I agree with a lot of shit he did. I don't like the fact that he's an asshole, but here's where I differ. In the mean tweets, Trump is a stand-up comedian. He missed his fucking calling.
Well, that was always my thing. I said it from the beginning. I was like, dude, if they would take Donald Trump's Twitter away while he was president, I literally wouldn't give a fuck at that point.
But I don't agree with I do think the president should be a little bit more presidential, but I will say this.
Have a little bit more couth, if
you
will.
I will say this. I will never forget 9/11.
You want him to be a politician, but you don't want him to be a bitch.
Right. I would never, like 9/11, when, you were, how old were you when 9/11 happened?
11. I was in 6th
I was
65.
I was just under 30, 29.
Yeah.
I wanted to, when Bush Jr. came on that night, I wanted that motherfucker.
Let's be real. Bush W was kind of a bumbling idiot.
Well, yeah. But I wanted somebody to say kind of what he said, but I would have been all right if he would looked in the camera and said, fuck you, we're coming after you now.
Yeah.
I would have been all right. I wanted somebody to be a little bit harder. In times of, and Trump was a little bit like Trump was that, and I think we do need a bit of a hard ass in the president. We don't need a cuck or a 95,000-year-old man. That you have. Trump should have been a little bit more, like you said, down a little. But I'll be honest with you, I love the way he handled North Korea. North Rita.
Well, it's like I said, if they would have just taken, somebody took control of his Twitter account,
right?
I really wouldn't have had shit to say. Because Twitter was the source of most of the shit that I would just kind of shake my head and be like, dude, you're the fucking president. You're not a 19-year-old college student that got turned down by a chick named Becky.
But like when North Korea, basically I'm paraphrasing, he said, don't fuck with us. We have better nukes.
Yeah. We've literally, I would imagine we probably have enough nukes that we could actually not even drop them. We could not drop them and detonate them. We could probably just duct tape them all together and fucking drop them on the whole goddamn country of North Korea.
Not even take out the fucking...
Like turn them upside down. Yeah.
No, but I do think you need a little bit of a hard...
Fuck, we probably have you could probably put like 5 of our nukes together and it's probably the square mileage of fucking North Korea.
I do think you need a little bit of a fucking hard ass at president.
Yeah.
But a little bit more couth... Or not even... Know when to fire out that mean tweet. You don't have to do it fucking every day. And I'm okay with them calling Rosie O'Donnell a pig. I'm all right with that too.
Well, she's also racist.
Oh yeah, but
But then again,
he wasn't the worst president ever that fucking got in office.
You know the highlight moment. Honestly, Donald Trump had one incredible highlight moment of his presidency that I think should go down in history.
What would that be?
And it is when Cinco de Mayo came along, and he posted that picture on Twitter of him eating a taco salad in his office, and he said, "Happy Cinco de Mayo. We have the best taco salads here at Trump Plaza. I love Mexicans." That was the highlight of his his political career.
I will give him, he was funny. His policies, a lot of them were all right.
I mean,
a lot of them weren't.
Same for Joe Biden. Joe Biden is the funniest politician that has ever lived.
Joe Biden
inadvertently, and that's what makes him so funny. Did you see him fall off that bike? Oh my God! He falls off bikes. He sniffs black kids.
He sniffs all kids. Here's the thing. I think we need our congressman or our government.
He said he told Charlemagne the God on his own show that if his mind wasn't made up yet, he ain't black. I was crying laughing when I saw that pop up on the news.
Here's the thing. The president, you have to be 35 years old to run for president.
Mm-hmm. Because wasn't JFK like 37 or something like that?
Yeah, he was young.
Still the youngest one.
I don't think...
Then it's Obama, I believe.
Here's the thing. I think for your first term at president, you have to be 60 or under. That way, if you do get elected and get a second term, you'll be 68 when you're out. I don't want a 75,000-year-old man running...
Well, and then also there should be like a fucking internship. Like once the primaries are decided, both those people should have to like walk around behind the current president with a notebook for like a month, and be like, "Well, I was thinking this," and so that person can turn around and be like, "All right, let's learn together. You can't just fucking do that, Craig."
Have we gotten to the part where you wanted to take a break anyway?
We're coming up to it. Okay. It's after the ATF thing.
Okay. I will say this. I think we should go back to the old days.
I've got about 2 pages left.
Which would be hilarious.
This is the longest sidebar we've ever had.
Let's go 2024. Trump does run again.
He's going to.
I don't know. Maybe. If he does. I think we should do it the way they used to do the old days. The loser becomes the vice president. Have a Trump, Biden fucking, or whoever runs, but or vice. Say just for argument's sake, Biden runs again, which he's not. I doubt if he will. He'll be comatose. He'll be 95,000 years old. But
geriatric
this, or even say whoever. But if Trump runs, whoever wins is the president. Whoever loses is vice president. That would be some funny ass shit.
I have my own election idea. I think you Chinese finger trap their fucking dicks together, and you just let them. You tractor pull that shit. Whoever's more of a man wins. America.
Let's go back to the old.
A duel.
Yeah. Or no, get in the octagon. Whoever beats somebody's ass.
I was say we're gonna have another Aaron Burr situation.
I don't even give a fuck. I just think, like I said, I've said this. I'm old.
I mean, basically,
I'll be 50 years old this year.
I feel like I'm one of the youngest people that openly accepts that, like, we are at the point where I'm just going to kind of sit back and watch the shit show until it comes to a head because it's gonna happen.
I'm on the downhill side of this mountain. I've reached the mountaintop. It was a shitty mountain. I wasn't on Everest. I was on some hillbilly Appalachian mountain. But I'm coming back down.
If that.
I'm just enjoying.
You're like on one of those man-made hills that blocks sound.
Right. I am just going to make me some popcorn, get me a few Mountain Dews, maybe a few Diet Mountain Dews, and maybe a few cold beers, and maybe a couple shots of Fireball.
Do the TikTok thing. Mix that Busch Light and the Mountain Dew.
We're going to do that Wednesday, I think.
It's so good.
We're going to try it. I bought Mountain Dew, but
I saw that.
I don't know if they're going to last on Wednesday.
I saw the Mountain Dews, and I was like, why do I feel like there's a tall boy of Busch Light in that fridge right now? It's fucking delicious.
But I'm on the downhill side. I'm just going to sit back and watch the world fucking burn. Eating popcorn.
Yeah.
Podcasting a little bit.
It just kills me how many people, like, back to our original point is, like, it blows my mind how many people don't see the, like, blatantly purposeful divide that has been driven. Like I said, I've talked about it before. Like, I got into that argument with a guy at my job over politics because everybody's like, you don't talk politics in a bar. 99% of the time, I am a person who can talk politics and religion in a bar because you know me. I am the captain of Team Gray Area.
Right.
I have no problem seeing both sides. I never think either side is 100% right, and I never think either side is 100% wrong.
Right.
Because they're not. It doesn't have to be this or that. It's something in here that is correct for almost everything that comes up. And both times that has happened to me at my job, that person, those people, there's two different people, when I had something negative to say about Donald Trump, they automatically went to, well, you fucking Obama. I'm like, guess what, hoss? I didn't vote for Barack Obama either. Guess what? You don't have to vote for the Democrat or the fucking Republican. I swing libertarian usually.
You're a swinger.
I fall under a libertarian fucking umbrella.
Right.
If I pay my taxes, fuck off and leave me alone. Boom. Basically libertarian.
I mean, it's just fucking.
And then everybody's like, oh, that's a wasted vote. No, the fuck it's not, because I voted. So when you want to start bitching about politics, I could bitch back because I cast my vote. Did they win? No. But I did my part as an American. Bull. Get a little ball blast.
It's just one of those things where most people are in the middle. Politics, most people are financially conservative, socially liberal.
Mm-hmm.
That's the divide. So they're in the middle.
Yeah.
You get these far left.
I want my money, but I want my freedom.
The far lefts and the far rights fuck it up for everybody because they're like anything else. They're a smaller but more vocal base.
Mm-hmm. And they're the ones that stir all the shit.
Right. I mean, fuck. Most people just live your life and like somebody asked me here recently, with this whole Roe versus Wade thing.
Oh God.
Was I pro-choice or pro-life? And you know what my answer was?
Both. I
said technically I'm both.
Yeah.
I see both. I do think abortion's murder, but I also see that, that maybe there is a time for it. I said I do not think it should be used as, or I said this on this podcast, I don't think it should be used as birth control, but I can understand that at some point there might be a time to act where it might be necessary to do it.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, it ain't me involved in the fucking thing in the first place, so I really don't have a fucking dog in that race.
I don't have a dog in the fight either. For one, I ain't getting nobody fucking pregnant. Ain't happening.
Like, do you?
You know, for one, any woman that is interested in me
is blind.
is blind as fuck, probably near death.
Barbara Bush.
Yes. So I don't have to worry about that shit.
Right. But, like,
I ain't fucking no 28-year-olds.
I know everybody brings it up, and I'm like, I just, like, don't care.
Yeah, I don't.
If you feel the need to do it, go for it. I'm not gonna fucking know about it anyway.
And that's my philosophy on everything. Like say you
It's
were
like Coach Klein said, "What Mama don't know, won't hurt."
Say
her.
you were a female, and you were going to have an abortion. I would not necessarily like it if you were just doing it, but I'm not going to hate you for it either.
I'm a girl.
You're an ugly ass girl.
Hey, I'm a pretty girl. I've had my makeup done.
We've officially probably lost everybody with this rant.
Yeah, that was a long one. Okay,
go ahead and finish.
Yeah.
But should I cut it out? Is the thing.
Okay, so just as a little recap, we got to the point where the ATF's starting to move in. Robert Rodriguez's cover is officially blown. Supposedly, according to some Branch Davidian survivors, people were instructed to take up defensive positions. David Koresh said he would speak to the ATF, and what happened next depended on the ATF. So there's the rundown of where we left off. So the ATF cruised on into Mount Carmel in a convoy of civilian vehicles containing uniformed personnel in SWAT-style tactical gear at 9:45 that morning. ATF agents said they heard shots coming from within the compound, but Branch Davidian survivors claimed that the first shots came from the ATF agents. So a suggested reason for this was an accidental discharge, possibly by an ATF agent, causing the ATF to respond with fire from their automatic weaponry. So there was an accidental discharge. This is all theoretical. These are theories. Accidental discharge in a situation like that.
High tense.
Yes. I can't say, I'm not saying it's right, but I can completely wrap my head around, in a situation like that, somebody accidentally pops off around, you don't know where it came from, you're just going to start lighting motherfuckers up. Your self-preservation takes over at that point. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I can 100% wrap my head around that thought process. Other reports claim the first shots were fired by the ATF, quote, dog team, which they were sent in to kill the dogs in the Branch Davidians' kennel.
They were killing the fucking dogs?
To prevent any forewarning of the raid that was incoming.
Okay.
So to prevent, and I'm not justifying the killing of dogs by any means.
Fuck that.
Leave
shit.
the dogs out of this.
Yes,
kids and dogs, fuck off. Suck my dick. Don't kill kids and dogs. But from a tactical standpoint, I do understand they feared the Branch Davidians taking up defensive positions and arming themselves. So from that standpoint, I can understand their thought process in eliminating this warning, this safety net, if you will, of this dog kennel. Don't agree with it, but I see where their head's at.
I think there should be a rules of engagement that should include
don't shoot dogs.
Don't shoot dogs.
I agree.
If you're not sneaky enough to get by them,
leave the fucking dogs alone.
Leave the dogs alone.
And what kind of dog? Give them some fucking milk. Throw a big ass box of milk bones and a bag of fucking cow hooves in there. They'll shut the fuck up.
And a thing of Jif.
A tub of Jif on a dude named Jeff, and those dogs will shut the fuck up.
Oh, they'll be looking for days, baby, looking for days.
So that was one of the. Which my problem with that is, what the fuck purpose? So I understand. I can understand from a tactical standpoint wanting to eliminate the dogs. But what the fuck good is that going to do? If you're going to go in there and you want to eliminate the warning signal of the dogs barking and activity from that kennel, what the fuck? There's no there's no rhyme to the reason if you're going to go in there and shoot the fucking dogs. If you can hear the dogs start to bark, you're definitely going to hear a fucking gunshot that is used to kill the dog.
And here's the thing.
That makes no fucking sense.
The element of surprise has already been lost.
You lose me at that point. Unless you're going in there at night and you're just fucking, you're hitting them with garrots. Like, it doesn't, it loses its tactical use once you start fucking shooting guns.
Correct me if I'm wrong. The Branch Davidians and David Koresh knew the alphabet.
They knew they were coming.
They knew they were probably there.
He told Robert Rodriguez, the undercover ATF agent, he told him, I know who you are. I know they're coming. You need to put a stop to this. He told them that. He told him that before Robert Rodriguez left the compound. So the ATF knew that they were coming. So that also adds to, why the fuck would there be an armed, quote-unquote, dog team if they know you're coming? Why do you give a fuck about the dogs? Shortbread cookie. Nice.
Now I'm hungry.
Anyway, so yeah, we're on the same page.
Don't
there.
kill the fucking dogs.
Yes. Period. That's all we got to talk about there. So, on top of this, there were 3 helicopters from the Army National Guard that were used as an aerial distraction. All of these helicopters did take oncoming fire. Still doesn't answer the question of who shot first. Doesn't justify anybody shooting first, in my personal opinion, but throw that in there. Now,
but wait a minute. What's weird? What's fucked up is the ATF.
We're not. Mind you, this helicopter thing. I'm not talking like this wasn't in like the first fucking 30 seconds of the raid. As we all know, this is what 51 days.
Well,
there's a pretty broad scope we're
so
talking
we're still
about
in
here.
the.
This is all one time period.
This was what.
But I'm saying like they didn't
the ATF.
start. Yeah, like
they're going in with warrants to search.
Yes.
Search warrants,
Mm-hmm.
and
they're going to serve search and arrest warrants.
Right.
But they're rolling with.
They're rolling heavy. Of course,
3
I guess they have to because of the
with
fact
what they suspect is going on there.
Right,
like it's like I said, I understand it. I don't know. I can't justify it. Well, you can justify and I fully understand the idea behind how they rolled in there.
Right.
Having what better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. I get that. But clearly there's already a lot of execution problems here.
Right.
So in the midst of the first shots being fired, David Koresh was wounded because he was shot in the hand and in the stomach.
No shit.
Yes.
I did not know this.
Yes.
In the stomach?
Mm-hmm.
How the fuck did he survive throughout the siege?
Well, I don't know if it actually hit his actual stomach. He was hit in the abdominal area.
Okay.
So Branch Davidian Wayne Martin called emergency services, which that was one thing. I got so far into these notes and they took me so long to type. I wanted to find so we could clip up some of this phone call. He called. We can do it in part 2.
Yeah,
if you want.
we'll look this week and put it in part 2.
He called emergency services within a minute of this raid starting. So within a minute of this raid starting, he's on the phone asking the sheriff to contact the ATF and like asking for a ceasefire within a minute of this raid beginning. And we'll get it for next week, but like it's like 30 minutes, this phone call, this recorded call. Most of it is just kind of dead air and the sheriff or the police trying to get him to talk to them because you can just hear gunfire going on. And like his whole thing was asking them for a ceasefire because he kept telling them that there's women and children inside the compound. Like, and then it gets to the point where like it's not funny, but my dark sense of humor like had to kind of chuckle at the fact that this went on for so long that it literally just sounded like this guy was just fucking over it. Like he's just like, ugh. Like at one point he's like, here they come again. And he just kept on. He's like, that's them shooting. It's not us.
It's fucked up no matter which way.
And like I said, he was on the phone with the sheriff within a minute of this shit, the raid starting. So I don't know exactly how raids start. I don't know if they commenced from the moment they leave their staging area, or like, I'm assuming from like within a minute of their known presence on the property is when all this is going down.
Right.
So the first ATF casualty was an agent who had made it to the west side of the building before he was wounded. Agents took cover and fired at the building while the helicopters began their diversion and swept in over the complex, about 50 feet away, and I think it was like 50 feet off the ground. Like, that's, if you're just going for a visual aerial distraction and some noise, that'll do it. You're definitely going to hear and see a helicopter 50 feet off the ground within 400 feet of your compound. It's going to be quite noticeable, especially when there's fucking 3 of them.
Yeah, I can hear helicopters.
I can hear an ice cream truck right now. It's the loudest fucking ice cream truck I've ever experienced in my life. He literally is the loudest ice cream truck ever.
Let's go.
And I swear I saw him on the fucking main road over there, like turning off. I'm pretty sure when he uses like his blinkers or like his power steering pump engages, it like fucks with it sounded like it got all wonky. It was like a horror movie. So Branch Davidians fired on the helicopters and they did hit them, but nobody was injured within the crew members of the helicopters. But this did cause the pilots to pull away from the compound and land their helicopters.
Probably.
Don't blame you. Yeah, good call, Jeff.
Taking fire?
Yeah, good call.
Out.
So, moving on, agents brought in ladders on the east side of the compound so that they could climb onto the roof and secure the roof. This is getting very tactical. I'll give them credit. They were ready for, I guess, whatever they were prepared to throw at them. Which, again, I don't blame them for that. But this doesn't seem to be going off without a hitch. This doesn't seem... you don't even know who fired, but you're in a full-on fucking siege and firefight at this point. Within minutes. So, they put the ladders up on the east side of the building to secure the roof. They were hoping to reach Koresh's room and the location where they believed the weapons to be stored. So, I'm assuming through Robert Rodriguez, they have kind of a loose blueprint of this compound.
You would think.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he was just jerking himself off.
Right. He's just walking around fucking eating ice cream and cock-slapping children.
All the wild sex is going on.
So, by the time they get up on the roof, they quote-unquote secure the roof. 3 agents reached Koresh's window on the western slope of the roof, and they came under fire while crouching next to the roof. From within the building, obviously. 1 agent was killed, and another was wounded in this exchange of gunfire. And the 3rd agent worked his way over to the peak of the roof and joined the other agents that were attempting to enter the armory, or what they believed to be the armory. So one of the 3 scrambled out of that one successfully. So agents smashed out the window and threw a flashbang grenade into the room. 3 of them entered, and when a 4th attempted to enter, he was met with gunfire coming through the wall. He was injured by that gunfire, but was able to reach the ladder and get down to safety. One of the agents opened fire on the Branch Davidians with his shotgun until he was struck in the head by return fire and wounded. So he's probably got a huge dick if he didn't get killed by the shot to the head. Inside of the armory, agents killed a Branch Davidian, discovered a cache of weapons, but they came under fire yet again, injuring 2 more agents. The 3rd agent laid down cover fire while the injured agents escaped the room, killing another Branch Davidian. And then that agent hit his head on his way out the window, on the window frame, and fell to the ground, but survived. I'm a survivor, I'm not gonna get you. So, this shit ramps up super quick. It's crazy. You go from just like kind of normal, weird, cult-esque shit to this at the drop of a pen. So another agent who was providing cover fire for them from outside the building was shot and killed instantly. Dozens of the ATF's agents took cover behind Branch Davidian vehicles and exchanged fire with the Branch Davidians. More and more agents were getting wounded over this time. One was killed while they were engaged by Branch Davidians perched on top of the water tower. The exchange continued for a total of 2 hours, but it kind of slowed down a little bit around the 45-minute mark because the agents were starting to run low on ammo. Understandable. 45-minute fucking firefight. Who the fuck carries that many mags?
That's a long-ass firefight.
That is a long firefight.
I mean, a 3-minute firefight would probably seem like an eternity.
Well, I mean, you got in 45 minutes, if you got, let's say you got 30 guys in 45 minutes, you could, if you had an endless supply, you're talking hundreds of thousands of rounds potentially.
But I have a question. Did the Branch Davidians break out the 50 cal?
That was the other thing.
Well,
and I don't know that thought process will come up later.
Why didn't they break that bitch out?
We'll touch on that. Don't you worry, Pumpkin.
We're calling an airstrike too.
So, after all this, or while all this is going on, Sheriff Lieutenant Lynch of the McLennan County. What?
Battery went dead.
Fuck. We switch it?
Go ahead. Keep talking. I will switch it out.
Okay. So, while all this is occurring, Sheriff Lieutenant Lynch of the McLennan County Sheriff's Department contacted the ATF and negotiated a ceasefire. Sheriff Harwell states in William Gazecki's documentary Waco, The Rules of Engagement, that the ATF agents withdrew only because they were out of ammunition. ATF agent Chuck Hustmeyer later wrote, quote, about 45 minutes into the shootout, the volume of gunfire finally started to slacken. We were running out of ammunition. The Davidians, however, had plenty. End quote. In this exchange, four ATF agents, Steve Willis, Robert Williams, Thomas McKeehan, and Conway Charles LeBleu, had been killed during the firefight, and 16 other agents had been injured. After the ceasefire, the Branch Davidians allowed the ATF dead and wounded to be evacuated and held their fire during the ATF retreat, which, at least the Branch Davidians, in this scenario, fucking had, at least they followed the rules of engagement to an extent, or the rules of war, if you will. Like, you know, everything went to shit and was fuck off, but at least you let them peacefully gather their dead and wounded. So
that was awful nice of them.
Yeah, that's, you know, gold star. 1 gold star.
You know, I have something to say. We
have more viewers after that.
While the camera went out,
we gained viewers.
So are they saying we're fucking ugly?
Oh, definitely.
I'm a little hurt.
We're actually almost done anyway. This is the break at the end of this page.
We're getting to the bridge.
Yeah. Along with the ATF agents that were killed and injured, 5 Branch Davidians were killed in the ATF raid. Winston Blake, Peter Gent, Peter Hipsman, Perry Jones, and J. Dean Wendell. 2 were killed by other Branch Davidians after being wounded. The mercy killings. Almost 6 hours after the 11:30 a.m. ceasefire, Michael Schroeder was shot and killed by agents who said he fired a pistol at ATF agents as he attempted to re-enter the compound with 2 other Branch Davidians. Now, Michael Schrader, whatever, he was away from the compound doing I believe it was a gun show on behalf of the Mag Bag.
Right.
And if he shot at him, yeah, you're going to get shot back. But I do understand there were people that were like, why the fuck would you, if you were gone from the compound, why did you go back to the compound? Because you have to remember that guys like Michael Schrader, I'm sorry to his family, if somehow somebody from his family sees this, by all means, inform me of the proper pronunciation of that one, because I think you can pronounce it either way depending on the fucking person. But what a lot of people don't take into account is, of course, this guy was trying to enter the compound again because he was away from the compound when it all started, but he also has his family is there. Like, he didn't drive to this compound on the road. They had everything roadblocked and shit. He made his way there on his own accord to try to make it back to, assuming, his wife and child or children that are within that fucking building that's getting shot up or was getting shot up.
Right.
Like, I can't blame the guy. Some people are like, that's dumb. Why would you try to go in? Blah, blah, blah. You telling me you wouldn't? If your family's in there, yeah, you're going to fucking go John Rambo like we've been talking about all episode, and you're going to go all out to try to get to your fucking family. Even if all you're trying to do, even if, call me crazy, if it was me, I would have just walked right up to the ATF like, you can try to stop me. I'm going in that fucking building. This shit's a little out of hand. I'll be back. Don't shoot me. I'm going to round mines up, and we're fucking out of here. We're going to be Baptists now. So that's besides the point. So, back to the story. Alan A. Stone's report states that the Branch Davidians did not ambush the ATF and that they, quote, apparently did not maximize the kill of ATF agents, explaining that they were rather, quote, desperate religious fanatics expecting an apocalyptic ending in which they were destined to die defending their sacred ground and destined to achieve salvation. So basically what he was saying is, potentially with what they found within that compound, the Branch Davidians, like, hypothetically, but also literally, with what they found in that compound, the Branch Davidians literally could have just fucking loaded up and just mowed down everybody that was there from the ATF. They would have taken their casualties, obviously, because that's how it works. But they, if they wanted to, the Branch Davidians could have just fucking just laid everybody down.
They had them outgunned. By far.
Yeah. Like, they could have just put an end to every ATF representative that was on that property without issue, if they wanted to. So there's that drop in the pond of mind candy to think on, if you will. Now, this is the last thing. I'm ending this with a quote. They say, you end a speech and shit with a quote. That's what we're doing. A 1999 federal report noted this of this ATF raid. Quote, the violent tendencies of dangerous cults can be classified into two general categories: defensive violence and offensive violence. Defensive violence is utilized by cults to defend a compound or enclave that was created specifically to eliminate most contact with the dominant culture. The 1993 clash in Waco, Texas at the Branch Davidian complex is an illustration of such defensive violence. History has shown that groups that seek to withdraw from the dominant cultures seldom act on their beliefs that the end time has come unless provoked. And that is effectively the end of the service of warrants by the ATF, and is where we will effectively end this first episode of our coverage of the siege of Waco and the Branch Davidians.
Good night, fuckers.
After this, we will get into the FBI siege, where it really gets interesting.
Where shit gets really dangerous. So
I have more notes on just the FBI siege than I do on early life, name changes, Branch Davidian background, and ATF's fucking raid.
There you go.
Next week's going to be the fun one.
Next week, we will cover part 2 of the Branch Davidians and the Waco Massacre. Because we will get more into the massacre part of this. Right now,
I don't even know what to. Honestly, I don't even know what to title what happened at Waco.
Right.
Like it is a massacre. It is a fuck show. But I still have yet, even with all this research, I have yet to like decide what term I deem fit to put on what kind of a shit show this turned out to be.
Worse than our Wednesday show.
Oh yeah,
by far. And
it makes our Wednesday show look like a fucking
Sunday service.
Yeah, not even like it makes it look like fucking tea and crumpet time with some British diplomats.
Yeah. So don't forget to like, subscribe to this podcast, however you take that in, whether it be your favorite podcast app.
Take it in.
Or if you check out the live streams on YouTube on Sundays and Wednesdays. So be sure to like, follow, subscribe, all that happy horse shit.
Too late.
Me. There'll be no editing. I'm just putting this shit out.
Honestly, they cut out a little bit of the beginning. And
Greg says, "Good luck editing this one, Phil." I'm not. I'm just letting it roll on our fucking 30-minute rant about politics.
I was gonna say, I mean, even if we do edit that, it wouldn't be much editing because I would say take that, cut that out, and then just make that its own fucking thing that we can upload.
That is true. Yeah, next week though, probably 4 hours might be. No, we're gonna try to keep it 2.
No, because next week there's once the FBI gets involved, there's more coverage, I guess, if you will.
Yeah.
So it's like there's more to it, but it's a lot more boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. But be sure to follow us on all our social medias, like what do I got? Instagram at ghost_night_podcast. TikTok, you can catch out some of Travis's funny clips or me being stupid at gitn.podcast. Twitter at night_ghost, and just search Ghost in the Night, or Facebook. That's the best way to follow us and see what we're up to and get little hints about what the show is going to be about for like today. Little quiz. There was a pop quiz today.
It was a pretty easy one.
It was, which got some engagement, got some.
Does David Koresh kind of look like Sylvester Stallone's like nerdy hippie brother?
Kind of.
He's got like the Stallone.
Cousin.
He's got like the Stallone eyes, kind of.
Don't forget about our Wednesdays live streams, which is What the Fuck Wednesdays, where we where we don't really cover a topic. We might hit some headlines or just random shit that's on our mind.
Oh.
And that lasts about an hour and 20 minutes. And then after that, we do a Patreon member exclusive live stream. And if you want the Patreon exclusive material that we do,
Gonzo,
go to patreon.com/GITM podcast, and you can take part in that Patreon members exclusive Wednesday podcast.
This backwards thing fucks me up, man.
That live stream after our What the Fuck Wednesday episode.
Oh shit, I haven't seen Papa Will's name pop up
Papa
in the live
Will,
stream
welcome.
in a while.
But that's about it. Like I said, next.
Yeah, everybody fucking spam Gonzo to just get the goddamn Patreon subscription. Or better yet, somebody who is in the $2 call. How about no? Never mind. I was gonna say somebody bump up to the $5 Patreon and we'll like grandfather Gonzo in. But no, Gonzo can walk out to can walk down to the kitchen to that little plate that everybody has for their loose change and their keys and their wallet, and he can get his wallet out and he can fucking plug it in there, and then he can have to plug it in there for a second time because he fucked up one digit in his credit card or like a CVV, and go, oh, what the fuck, why doesn't it work? Oh, I forgot to say I accept the terms and conditions, that's why it didn't work.
Yeah. All right.
Everybody knows exactly what I'm talking about.
We will see the real fans on Wednesday for What the Fuck Wednesday, and then we will see the rest of you back here next Sunday for part 2.
The Hot Shots part 2.
Why? We'll go.
1, 2, 3. Feel the rhythm. Feel the rhyme. Get on up. It's bobsled time.
The part 2 of the Waco Massacre. the more interesting, not really interesting, where the shit gets dirty and nasty and gets all stanky.
That's what the Swiss do. We ain't Swiss Daris.
So we will see you guys on Wednesday and then see you back here for part 2 on Sunday. We love you. Thank you for taking time and listening to our stupid, dumb, freaking immature asses.
We did pull a hell of a sidebar tonight.
Yeah, that was a good sidebar. All right. We'll see you guys. Take care.
Deuces, bruh.